Billy, why did you just Jeez Louise Tony?
He's a lot, this guy.
I literally haven't said anything to him. I've said 3 words to him
The room's
today.
full of people, and they all kind of see what's going on. His non-answers are really telling answers. So, like, I come up to him, and I was just, because, you know, I'm in full parenting mode. Whoa.
It's early for that.
I'm in full parenting mode. Yeah, no, we've reached like the stage of parenting where like now there's gymnastics classes and things like that, and there's extracurriculars that I'm taking the kids to, dropping them off, all that stuff. But not dropping them off because my wife got mad at me, and I shouldn't have said this. No, I'm not gonna say what I said. It's more of an off-air conversation. I'm not gonna say.
Well, we're not. Technically, we're not on video air. And
we walked into a gymnastics place. And she's like, "Isn't this great? This looks like so much fun." Blah blah blah. She's like, "You look so serious." So they're like looking around everywhere, and I said, and I shouldn't have, but it was like obviously a concern. It was like long history of abuse in gymnastics. So I'm like looking around like to make sure this is like that's my child. I need to make sure
it's his job. To be honest,
thank you. It is my job to make sure. So I'm looking around, making sure. So I was having conversations outside, and I said, "How's parenting going?" And this Weisenheimer over here goes, talking to Zazo. I'm like, no, he's got it under control.
I got it on lock.
Yeah.
He said he was looking that way, so I wasn't looking at Billy. I thought he was looking at Zaz.
I'm talking to you. I worry about you tying your shoes. So I'm like, how's parenting going? I know that early on it's and you're not responsible. So I'm asking going.
What did I tell you?
He said something about crying, fidgeting, squirmy, wormy, something like that.
Last night I said that she's been really good. She's got 2 teeth now, sprouted out.
That's what he said. She's been an angel, perfect child. That's exactly what
two
you
teeth.
said.
She's been sprouted out now, 2 teeth.
None of that.
A little early, by the way, I've been told. She's not 6 months yet and's got 2 teeth.
That is surprising.
I'm a little worried about that.
People love to brag when their kids do stuff early. Like, oh, my kid's
Growing
rolling over. It's only 2 months old.
Smartness.
Nobody said it was.
My kid has 2 teeth already.
Yes, smartness isn't a sign of smartness.
I'm just saying, like, I know a baby that's like 8 months that still has 1 tooth.
Well, see, don't shame the 8-month baby with 8 teeth.
That's one of the
one-tooth baby.
That's one of the fun parts of being a parent is you look at other babies like, that baby. What's going on? Why does that baby drool so much? What's going on over there?
So all I was saying when Billy asked me that was that she was a squirmy wormy last night. And it was a lot. She didn't want to go to sleep that much. So it was like keeping the parents up. Of course, the day I have to come in.
No, and then I asked, like, how old are you going to be? And he's like, about to be 6 months. I go, you're a half-birthday guy.
Yeah, you are.
Like, I can tell you're a half-birthday guy. And then there was, like, a long pause. And he's like, and then there was a long pause. And then we all, I think, as a group was like, yeah.
He is.
Half-birthday. He's like, I don't know if we're doing that. I'm like, when's the birthday? He's like, July 1st. I'm like, buddy, you're a half-birthday guy.
I'm not a half-birthday guy. The reason I gave pause and concern was because Lewis's wife, Dania, had told Jenny, hey, we want to throw the baby a half-birthday party.
Wait,
so now I'm like,
blaming other people.
Hold on.
But we didn't accept it.
We left out evidence early because this is the first we're hearing of this. You pretended like none of this was going on. So we nailed it. You are having a half-birthday.
No.
Because he goes, he's like, July 1st, I don't even know what day that is. I'm like, it's July 1st. What do you mean you don't know what day July 1st is? It has it in the title.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do you celebrate 6 months old's birthday? And also put on the poll at Le Batard Show. Are you bragging if you say your child has 2 teeth within 6 months?
No, that is a flex. And congratulations to you guys. Incredible genes. 2 teeth, 6 months. I mean, that's something to behold. Unfortunately, that means
30 more to go.
Teething's going on. So, like, that's you're going to get the fevers.
It's
going to
be
a whole. Yeah, teething sucks. Like, I'd rather have a child without
Start
teeth
the
than
show
have to go
already, please.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in a cage, never let out the. I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough but walking. Too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Whoa. Stumbled onto another Wild Billy Wednesday.
Hold on to your hats, partners. It's about to get wild.
So then I was asking him because I was a half birthday guy, obviously. Now we've found out confirmed half birthday.
Dania was
for the
wanting
baby.
to throw the half birthday. We haven't accepted the gift yet.
Louis, Dania's husband, has said in my ear, I just want for the record, we are not half birthday people.
That seems impossible. Now everybody's backing away because I said, you're probably a half birthday guy. And I was like, are you guys like birthday month people? Like when your months come around, like, oh, here's a whole month of activities. Or did you like downgrade to, oh, it's just our birthday weekend. Here's 5 festivities. Like, no, none of that. Just one thing. I go, buddy, you're going to Las Vegas for a UFC fight and you're throwing yourself 2 parties. You're having one on a Friday, one on a Saturday. So don't come and tell me you're not a birthday month guy when you can't just simply go to Las Vegas and get a couple interviews. No, we're going to have 2 parties where you have to come see Tony next week or this weekend or whatever it even is.
First off, the first party is a Cuervo party. They're doing their own thing. They invited me to go over and kind of play host and do certain things. So I'm going to go over there.
Aren't you fighting somebody on Friday?
Yeah, Dan, I'm going to be sparring the wins record holder for the middleweight division, tied with Michael Bisping. His name is Brad Tavares in the middleweight division.
That's a bad idea by you.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, but again, what we're doing here at the MMA Hangout is pushing the limits of content so you guys can follow along. Like I jump out of a plane, you guys don't. I fight people on camera, you guys don't. Like I need you guys to elevate as I'm trying to elevate.
And sparring, though, conveys he's going to take it easy on you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So
Dude,
I'm not gonna set him up on T-Mobile on Saturday night.
You gotta
I'm not gonna come in at 220. Like, all right, guys, I'm gonna fight now.
Put the old Pat Riley right to the forehead, leave a diamond in his head.
I might do a.
By the way, for clarification, I've been told in my ear multiple times I was invited too by Lewis, so you can come meet Lewis as well, who might be
right
fighting
now.
as well.
All right, Lewis, I've heard from you too much in the first 5 minutes of the show. Go sit in the penalty box.
Whoa.
Like, stop talking to people so much, and the rest of you stop listening to him so much.
Might I add, Dan, Saturday night, the MMA Hangout will be live at Circa, atop Stadium Swim, and you can go on the Stadium Swim. Party number 1. Party number 2. Okay. You can go atop Stadium Swim, and I'll read it right here. MMA Hangout live Saturday night from the Circa Hotel in Las Vegas, overlooking Stadium Swim, presented by Boost Mobile.
How
10
fun is
p.m.
that
Eastern.
going to be? That's the first time. So you've grown that into a big fun thing. I'm seeing if Mero can join you on Saturday, if you'll have him. It's a very popular
Of course,
thing.
I'll have a primo.
But you have grown it now so that you are flying to Vegas with a 6-month-old that has 2 teeth, and I don't think your wife's going to like very much that you're going to be in Vegas.
I think she said yesterday, like, I'm glad you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Are you getting paid for it?
Yeah, of course.
That's
You
uncomfortable.
know what wives
Well,
like.
he doesn't. I don't know if he
Oh, there he is.
No, wives love money.
Everyone likes money, says. I'm glad that
My
Amin
wife
is here,
especially.
and not just because the NBA draft is today. It has been a fascinating thing to watch happen in the NBA, how teams and fan bases want to win the summer. The Celtics have made 2 trades in the last 2 days. You want to know when the last time was the Heat made a summer offseason trade? Kyle Lowry.
Ooh, that was a time.
But this is the thing, right? This is winning the offseason is something that now matters for front offices. And we can say this, right? At least the last 2 championships, maybe you feel like you could say this about all championships, but at least the last 2 championships are monuments to architecture. Like what the Celtics did 2 years ago that they just undid, like that is masterwork right there to get under the cap while Porzingis and Holiday become your 4th and 5th best player because Derek White ascends to your 3rd, and all of a sudden you can get rid of them. And, I mean, I want to get your thoughts on what they got back, because I did not think that they had the kinds of assets in those 2 people trying to get under the cap that would bring them back, you know, a scorer and some value. I thought they would just have to dump to get out from under the cap.
You don't think what they did was dump to get out of the cap?
They did, but they got stuff back.
I mean, they got decent pieces
nice
back.
pieces.
I mean, they got a scorer. They got someone who can score when Portland doesn't have, like, Portland has redundancy of skill set there.
Are these decent or nice pieces? I need to know. You guys, like, I got 2
Look,
answers there.
the man giving you the analysis when Drew Holiday went to Boston called him a waterlogged corpse.
That's not what I said, but it's all right. I mean, like, if you're asking for my analysis and then undercutting it with a mockery of what my
Waterlogged
analysis was,
corpse
that
is
doesn't
strong.
really work.
That's strongly to say. I mean,
That's not what I said. But
I thought you said corpse, though. I thought you attached corpse to Drew Holiday.
I heard that's what you said.
that's not what I said. And I'm not going to relitigate a show from 2 years ago. Where
Can you guys find the sound?
It was
Get
the
Lewis.
corpse of Drew Holiday.
I sent the sound to you guys after you kept saying I said corpse about it as far as like, oh, Boston got a corpse. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. But I'm sure if you can dig up the sound that I sent 2 years ago after I wanted you guys to cease and desist that, you'll know. But to the point I'm saying, Anthony Simons, nice young player, 1 year left on his deal, good scorer. He's got flaws, he's got warts, but again, in terms of what they got out of, which is Drew Holiday, who has long-term money on the books, and deteriorating not only in health but in play, that's a nice little swap. Porzingis for George Niang, that is a massive check down.
Okay, yes, agreed. Although George Niang is one of my favorite players because he's shaped like me. I've loved him since Iowa State. But just so that you know, the Celtics saved $180 million in tax penalties. And whether you agree with it or not, in doing so, they got 3 second-round picks. They got a veteran who's had a couple of playoff runs, and they got a potential 20-point scorer. So I think we can agree. My previous point, we'll get to the sound that Amin wants us to eradicate forever in a second. But I do think we can agree, if not all championships being always architecture-based, because sometimes you just have a star and it doesn't matter how much you build around them, we can say the last two are celebrations of front office, can we not?
Well, this year's championship, it's more of a long-term celebration of front office. To me, that's front office work, is building over time and adding and curating and chiseling, right? The big blockbuster deal rarely, not never, but rarely turns into an immediate championship. The Celtics swung big two summers ago by sending Marcus Smart, who was a big part of their culture.
Not an easy trade to make.
That one is like, yes, that's swinging for the fences. They went out and got Porzingis, and it worked magically for them. The Thunder, yes, acquiring Alex Caruso, huge, not only for his contributions on the floor, but also because he taught them how to pop bottles of champagne. Don't know if you guys know that one.
I have to show you guys.
That's
I have
real
to show you
leadership.
guys some of the video here on guys on the Thunder who have never had a drink and guys on the Thunder who had too many drinks. We can check in actually with them now as soon as you finish your point, because Chet Holmgren was slurring through the parade. SGA looked drunk on GMA, and Jalen Williams says he's about to go drinking, even though he's never had a drink.
The Thunder are an example of the kind of patient front office work that nobody really wants. This thing started 6 years ago, right? And they tore it down, and they used their cap space to accumulate and pick right and develop and make tweaks here and there. And it culminates with we have the cap space to sign Isaiah Hartenstein because we think he fits what we need. We can go out and get Alex Caruso because we can't have too many of these young guys who've never done anything before. So Josh Giddey goes, Alex Caruso comes in. And now you get to a place where you win a championship. And even then we see how small the margins are. It could have gone wrong several times.
They were ready to lose that championship. Oddball will have some draft coverage for you here if you want some of that good stuff. We will have drunken players in a second. But before I do that, Theo Epstein represents in the history of Boston the greatest architect that there has been in sports by reputation. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Brad Stevens would appear to be a better executive than he was a coach. And that's no knock on him as a coach. But the Marcus Smart trade is a very difficult trade to make, to realize that Tatum and Brown needed to have a team that Marcus Smart didn't want to give it to them. And then to get two players like that in Holiday and Porzingis, there were perfect complements, because there are very few guys willing to do the things Drew Holiday does as a third or fourth option, and Porzingis stretched the floor ridiculously, but also allowed for the growth of Derek White in there. But the idea that champion is no more that quickly, still surprising to me. But it's still surprising to me. Why would it not be surprising to me? The Celtics seem like they were only on the ascent.
It seems like if Tatum doesn't get hurt, they're going to go into the repeater tax. They're going to go into the luxury tax. Like, it felt like it was kind of churning that way, no?
It's more that I don't know that they would have ever gone into any of that because of the new ownership and wanting to get under that luxury tax, but they would have been right back in that conversation at least this year and still been around the championship. It feels like everything fell apart, and now not only are they making moves just based off the future because they know next season doesn't really matter, but they were willing to get that much worse because they want to build it back up around Tatum once he is healthy.
They were going to make hard decisions either way. The only thing the injury did was to give them the out of, oh, no, we need to make hard decisions. But they, like somebody, not Brown, not Tatum, right? And probably not Derek White, but there were going to be people gone.
So you think they're done?
Wait, but no, Shams is saying that Jalen and Derek White, they're getting calls all over the place, that the Celtics are getting the calls, and I don't think they're done. You think they're done?
Done in what sense?
Either way.
Big moves.
Do you think that they're done with moves or done being able to do something for this year? Because I think they go right back to playing for the championship this year, even though Tatum's going to miss most of the year.
They're one more move away from getting under the tax. They're in the repeater tax. And in order to get out of the repeater tax, you've got to be out of it 3 out of 5 times, right? So, two times in 5 years. They've been in the repeater tax 3 times now. So they have a mandate to get under that thing one more time. So one more deal. Is it Sam Hauser? Is it Derek White? I don't think it's going to be Jaylen Brown. I don't think it's going to be Derek White, but of course they're getting calls and you got to listen because you're in a position. Are they done forever? No. I think, a year from now they'll be back to reload in the summer of
Why would you
2026.
trade Derek White?
Because he makes $28 million next year, 30.3 the year after that, 32.5 the year after that, and he's got a player option of 35 the year after that. That's why you trade. It's not because, I don't like him anymore, he's no good. This is a lot of money. Now, if we're at the peak of competing for a championship, I'll pay it, right? That's why they paid all those guys. But once you get to a place where we're not quite at the peak of competing for a championship, it's really hard for me to convince ownership, hey, let's just keep throwing money at this thing that's not going to pay for itself.
I think they're going to trade Derek White. I think they're going to trade Derek White because you see what Orlando just got for Desmond Bane. Boston knows they're not a contender this year. If they can get a haul for Derek White, which I think they probably could, then in a year from now, you're going to do it again. Like, you're building your championship team around Tatum and Brown, and now you have all of these assets next offseason to play with. I think they're going to trade Derek White.
The question is, who has the assets to go get a Derek White? Who has what Desmond Bane went for? Who has that left out there?
Oklahoma City has everything.
Brooklyn's got a ton of picks.
Yeah,
No,
Brooklyn's got like 5 in the first round.
5
tonight.
in the first round, and they don't know what to do with them.
Build their centerpiece around Derek White for the Brooklyn Nets?
Look, you build your centerpiece around Desmond Bane if you're the Orlando
Do you
Magic?
believe Derek White? I don't believe Derek White's a number one. He's a lot better player than any of us thought he was, but he was at least that good because he played with those 2 other guys.
Yes, let's not get caught up. Yes, he's not a centerpiece of a team. I'm just trying to be funny because Desmond Bane went for 8 billion picks. But to answer your question, a Sam Hauser deal gets him under. So he doesn't have to get to Derek White.
You say 8 million picks. A Gobert costs you 5 now. A Bridges costs you 5 now.
Yeah.
A Bane costs you 5 now. Like that. When yes.
But let me stop you there because Gobert costs you 5. What had Gobert done in his career? He was like a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year when that happened, right? The Bridges deal is the only example of like, hey, this guy who's never had any sort of accolade, we're going to give up a zillion picks for him. Why? Well, because he's best friends with my best player. Like that was their thinking. Like the power of friendship, of course.
But that's the rate now.
That's not the rate. That's the rate if you're dealing with
Bane. Just is a catch and shoot 3 shooter, and he just went for 5 picks. That's the rate.
That's the rate if you're dealing with a team that is desperate. Kevin Durant went for 1 pick. What are we talking about?
Bane has never been an all-star. Like you just said, Bridges doesn't have accolades.
I know.
Neither does Bane.
That's the way.
That's
the
my
way
point.
I see it. I mean, is that I don't think it's what that guy is worth. I think it's about what that guy is worth to the team that's trading for him. Like Minnesota felt, okay, Gobert's not worth 5 picks, but to us he is because we think he's the missing piece for a championship. Mikal Bridges, he's not worth 5 picks, but to us, we think it makes us a championship team.
So this was what Mike was doing yesterday when he was talking about the Heat missing on Anunoby and on
Siakam.
and Siakam. They weren't missing pieces either, right? Because they didn't end up being champions. Like Siakam got very close and was important, Anunoby has been very important, but they don't get to be missing pieces because the Heat have been as far as the Pacers just got.
But that's like saying the Siakam trade was a failure for Indiana.
I'm not saying it's a failure. Mike Ryan's criticizing them for every guy they have not gotten, and what I'm saying is if they'd gotten Siakam, they still wouldn't be a champion, and he'd still be criticizing them. If they'd gotten Anunoby, they still wouldn't be a champion, and he'd still be criticizing them.
But still criticizing them. All right, you're obviously going to play that back. I mean,
let's play back before we do that. Let's play back
point.
Amin's clip here where this was the analysis. He was mad at us. He had just gotten home on a flight. He was upset. Can you explain to us what context this needs as you deny that your analysis was that he was a corpse?
That wasn't from the day that I talked to you guys on the phone. I was in the
I have a
car in the
clip.
airport.
It's audio.
Okay.
Drew Holiday's corpse. Drew Holiday's corpse.
Oh, okay.
Drew Holiday's
wow.
corpse.
Oh, it's amazing how it's just like 3 words and there's nothing around that.
So
wow.
you did not say Drew Holiday's corpse?
Wow.
You think that was edited?
What was
It
the
could
context?
have been like, what are you wearing as a Halloween costume this year? And he said, Drew Holiday's corpse.
What was the context?
That could have been. It probably
wasn't
was the
waterlogged.
context. It probably was.
That's right. It wasn't waterlogged.
He also didn't call Drew Holiday a corpse.
Are there
It was
levels
the
to a corpse?
of Drew Holiday, which is a very different thing.
Okay, so would you like the context since you guys aren't really good at finding
The
context?
Marine Corps are celebrated. The Peace Corps too.
Wide receiver corpse.
There you go. So this isn't all bad, Dan, the way you're painting Amin in this corner. You know what's weird, Amin?
That's weird.
I was talking to people, and I was like, because it's Wild Billy Wednesday, as
It
I've
is.
been told. And I said, you know what? I'm not a man that asks for a lot, but I said, I demand Amin comes in here. Last week, for whatever reason, we kept you away during the NBA Finals. I demand on draft day, Amin is back so that we can cover the NBA draft.
I'm happy you said that.
I stood up for you. I
today-
said, Tony Reality was supposed to be here today. I said,
Yeah.
get that guy the hell out of here with his microphone and his
Right.
bounce houses. I need Amin in studio on NBA draft day.
Yeah, you do. Hey, it's draft day. I'm glad you brought that up. Today is draft day, NBA draft day.
Who knew?
Cooper Flag. Everyone's excited. I'm sure we're doing like a live watch along of the draft tonight, right? We're all basketballed out tonight. We're not
you, Jeremy, like
the whole everything, right? Because there's no chance that there's another sport that's in the beginning of the doldrums of its regular season that we're gonna pick this day of all days to do live watch along content. Because heaven forbid we have that on a Thursday or on a Friday or on a Tuesday or any other day of the week or the month that wasn't NBA draft day. No way that we could have that kind of planning around here.
Meadowlark is not great at scheduling.
What?
Very bad at scheduling.
Huh?
But the reason this...
Tony has 2 parties coming up, one for each of his
Thank
kids'
you.
teeth.
Thank you.
I'm happy with the schedule.
Neither on draft day though.
Exactly.
We have tonight a watch party with Tim Kirkshin that I don't actually know. Everyone here is invited. If you want to come and give us basketball analysis during it, you can, because I will have to do it here from the studio. I wanted to do it from home, but my gangster Wi-Fi is not gangster enough, and now I've got all sorts of work in the walls and in the roof and all sorts of insanity going on at my home trying to get more gangster Wi-Fi. But I will be here in the studio. If you want to come by, you're here at the Elser. If you want to come by, you're welcome to come here, give us some basketball coverage. The reason I'm doing this, though, with Tim Kirkshin is because no one around here except for Jeremy will talk baseball with me. No one. I can't get anyone to talk about my beloved Rays. And so
They're so good, Dan.
we're going to get Tim Kirkshin, and we're at 6 o'clock tonight. We're just going to watch baseball games tonight. And if you want to come by, everyone's invited. If you want to come by and do basketball analysis, we'd be happy to have you during the draft. Would you like to do that?
When you say more gangster Wi-Fi, is the Wi-Fi going to become more gangster in nature, or will there be more of this Wi-Fi that is also gangster?
It'll just be better. That's all I was
Sounds
saying.
like the former then.
Something that Amin was saying earlier, and I want to present this to the group here as something that the media in sports talks about very poorly, okay? Because Amin just threw out their repeater tax, and I don't believe that 1% of the audience has an actual knowledge of very much salary cap beyond you're either over it or under it. But there is an information age going on right now throughout sports where Jordan Schultz is fighting Ian Rappaport in a Starbucks because they don't like each other. And Schultz is now being accused by other information guys of buying his way into the game by sending executives coffee from his father, Starbucks owner who used to own the Supersonics. An interesting career choice, by the way, when your father is the owner of Starbucks and the Supersonics.
That's his father?
To choose the information
You got to
game.
do something, right? I mean, why not pick something fun?
Yeah, but you think that's fun? You think?
I mean, for him, he's chosen that over doing nothing.
Over coffee.
He's
Like,
being
come on,
he's
man.
being accused.
I would do nothing.
That's what I'm saying. He's chosen that over a life of like riding jet skis and swimming
I do
pools.
so much nothing.
And coffee.
Are you trying to make that sound like a bad thing?
What?
A life of jet skis and pool
No, I'm saying
and
that is an
coffee.
awesome life, and he's chosen this over that.
But it doesn't
Crazy.
seem fun. The information game does
oh,
not
it's
seem
competitive. You get to go and threaten Ian Rappaport inside a Starbucks. What
That's
was
home
more
turf for
fun
him.
than that?
fun. A Starbucks your father owns.
Yeah, that's
turf,
why.
yeah.
That's why you can get away with it. Are you going to press charges? No, that's my boss.
The information guys are really valuable. Okay, I want to talk about Jordan Schultz in a second because what's happening with him is funny. He's being accused by other information guys as being doing to the information game what the Saudis have done to Live Golf, where they buy their way into the game, and now he's got player relationships the way Jay Glazer used to have player relationships, and most of the insiders don't have the player relationships. They have the executive relationships. And so he's playing a different game. But when Amin mentions the repeater tax, the thing that I wanted to ask you guys is, Pablo Torre has a report that is the sixth headline on a slow news day on ESPN News. He's got big breaking news, but it's about labor, the NFL Players Union, and what would pass for something very close to the dirty insides of collusion. Doesn't quite get there, but it shows you how it is the owners tried to keep the money down, these greedy owners in that sport, by basically colluding, even though an arbiter ruled that they did not collude. And the media has covered it very poorly, and Mike Florio is yelling and screaming about this, and I'm curious whether you guys are interested in this part of it at all. Mike Florio is saying it's not being covered because everyone's a league partner, and so it's not gonna be covered. and so it finally got on to the ESPN homepage, as I said, the sixth story, but all day yesterday, this was not talked about by the league partners, and I'm just curious. I'm asking you this because I remember these conversations when we left ESPN and how insistent I was to the people who were doing our negotiating. Hey, be careful about partnering us with anybody who's NFL adjacent because they're going to be trying to control stuff we're saying around here and how we say it and when we say it. And the NFL has become so powerful right now, okay, because Ian Rappaport is an NFL employee, okay? He's an information guy paid for by the NFL. The NFL has become so powerful that it's coming very close to being able to control the news. Like, not totally, but more than most people can. And I'm just curious, do any of you care? Because the insides of that story, and you can check it out at Pablo Torre Finds Out, the insides of that story will show you how dirty this business is, how greedy the people are, and how that power is at the very top of that sport in a way that's very well concealed. Florio and Pablo Torre were trying to get these documents, and Torre got them first. But what do you make of Florio's criticism that league partners in business with the NFL have to do things like this? I will tell you that John Skipper, former CEO of our company, has the story of when their partnership with the NFL was with PBS and reporting about the NFL's concussion problem. You got ESPN doing business and journalism. Those things have to be different. They have to be separated. But ESPN managed it for many, many years, all of the conflicts in the business. But as the story climbed on concussions, that story got to Skipper. And Skipper's like, okay, we're out on concussions. We got to get out on concussions. This has climbed too high. I'm the conflict of interest. I, at the top of the company, have to decide, are we doing business or are we doing journalism? And then all of a sudden, concussion coverage, the way it was being covered at the time that it was groundbreaking, it was It was PBS or was it NPR? It was a report that was showing the insides of brain trauma, and the journalism department had to get out on that when the conflict reached where the business was. And so I ask you, as I present you this story of collusion and the way that people love these contract management information stories, why isn't this a bigger story?
The Florio story or the Celtics repeater?
The Celtics repeater, I don't want to talk about anymore.
All right, just make it.
Why would you think I was asking you about the Celtics repeater?
Because you start that was the launch.
That is where that started.
And then you.
That's what I'd rather talk about.
Went a few different directions.
This is scaring me. This conversation.
Work your way back here. Well, first of all, does Florio not still work for NBC?
I think he's got a contractor gig.
That kind of thing.
He gets money from NBC. I think.
But that's playing with fire for him a little bit, right? If he's saying this story isn't getting touched because it's too hot for a league partner, and he gets a little business with a league partner, I can't imagine that the league that he's claiming to be that controlling would be happy that someone on league partner airwaves is talking.
But
like
is it because the story's too hot, or is it because people don't like these kinds of stories? That they're interested in certain things? Like if I made this about Kaepernick, all of a sudden it would be a much different story, right? But this is really close to collusion, what is happening here. And maybe it's a different story as well if collusion had been ruled, which is not what happened when it went to an arbiter.
I think the reason you're talking about, which is a valid one, is that people just care about what happens on Sunday. Right? They don't really care, especially if it's not like, oh, this is making things harder for my team. That's what fans care about. Hey, are you hurting the Dolphins from getting? Oh no, this is just something that screws players over, but like doesn't do anything for my team. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Are you accurate though when he says that about? I feel like the fan today is more informed than he or she has ever been, and wants to be more informed than he or she has ever been.
But they don't care about information that does not impact them. So, for instance, my boring repeater tax conversation, Celtics fans are like, wait a second, what this is why we're going to give away Derek White maybe? Because it impacts their fandom. But if it was just like, hey, you get to keep your team as it is, Derek White kind of gets screwed over. They're like, well, that's what a fan does. For like Chris, if you found out that this collusion story is what stopped the Dolphins from having like a great backup quarterback as opposed to Skylar Diggins or whatever the kid's name was,
Skylar
right?
Thompson.
There you go, same thing, right? Like you would care immensely about this.
You're right.
But because it has nothing to do with the impact on your team, it's just like, oh, that's cool, I'm informed, but like.
But Zaz, what do you think is right here when it comes to? I know we can't speak for all of fandom on this, but don't you believe that today's fan craves more information than any fan before?
Not necessarily, and especially not with like this story. Me as a fan, I don't care about this story because if anything, this story, if there is collusion, which it seems that there was, it sounds like it helps my team get more players. It sounds like it helps my team build a better roster. I hope the owners collude. Like as a fan, that's where I'm coming from. So like I don't care.
When it comes to the labor, it doesn't really matter because people care less and less about individual rich people as well, right? So if you're talking about the repeater tax, I am sure there are Celtics fans that are frustrated that the reason that they're breaking up their core doesn't really have anything to do with basketball reasons. It has more to do with getting under a repeater tax. But it does now in a way that it would have not in the same way going into this offseason had Tatum not gotten hurt. But when you look at collusion and all of these other parts of it, you really have a bunch of people with a lack of empathy. Even if they have the information, why would they be empathetic over the fact that this person who's making $500,000 more than them is maybe making $10,000 less?
Let the record show I like collusion.
Yeah, pro-collusion if it benefits us. Do we still get Black Friday games? Do we still get Christmas Day games? Are the Chiefs still in Buffalo on week 9? I don't care about taxes. Talk to me about taxes April 15th.
They should change the saying to close only counts in hand grenades. What is it?
Yep, that's it.
Horseshoes, hand grenades, and collusion.
All right.
Well said.
Horseshoes, hand
He had
grenades.
worked that one with us earlier, and he said it right.
Minor
He
penalty,
said it
2 minutes.
right.
Stumbling.
You know what they say?
Counts in hand grenades.
Horseshoes, hand grenades, and collusion.
And Chris analogies.
Go leave.
Jeremy, the other reason beyond like repeater taxes, it's a lot of money for rich people. Oh, if Tatum was healthy, it'd be fine. It's not that. It's because they start taking first round picks away from you.
Yeah,
so there are
eventually you have
basketball.
to get underneath that
Even
tax.
if Tatum was healthy, there's a high likelihood that they were going to make hard decisions.
You're right. It's more the idea that there would be a frustration over the rule,
Right.
Not even necessarily at the owners. There'd be a
Yes.
frustration amongst the fan base over
About the
why does
rule.
this rule
Yes.
exist.
All right,
Absolutely.
but let me ask you, because this would be disappointing to me, but I guess not surprising. Do any of you care if Florio's accusation is accurate, that league partners are either downplaying the story or ignoring it? Do any of you care about that in the abstract, or if it doesn't affect your team, you just don't care? It's not a story.
Right. I guess I would flip it back on you. Why do I care?
I thought people cared when rich people got caught doing dirty shit with power.
Yeah, but it's about my entertainment. Like it's not like rich people who are in the oil business. It's rich people who control my team, which gives me entertainment and joy.
What country do you live in?
Yeah, man.
You thought what?
Since the dawn of time, people have been abusing power
This
with money?
football, who cares? It's not that serious.
I just thought that, generally speaking, a story about something that is a rich person's shame with corruption around power is a story that's going to get clicks. You're not going to make me sound like the asshole, like I've got this wrong.
Do you not think that Browns fans are hoping that their ownership group can find any way possible to screw Deshaun Watson out of that guaranteed money? They are all hoping that there's collusion or something that can be done to get out of that so they can make their
Do
team
you realize that the reason that this happened is because it was 2 days after Deshaun Watson? These rich people can't control themselves, and so what do? They try to cheat in order to control prices because they can't control themselves. It came 2 days after Deshaun Watson. You got Goodell getting with the owners and being like, "Hey, we can't be doing this. Are you guys crazy?"
And then what? And then
kinda
what's
right.
Well, and then what's the result of that right there happening? The result is my team spends less and they get more good players.
That's it, like Zaz is right on the nose.
Okay.
All of that stuff doesn't matter if that's as American as apple pie. Wait, does it benefit me? Yeah, I don't give a shit. That's all people care
That's
about.
all it is.
Horseshoes and hand grenades and collusion.
As bad as it sounds, you're acting like we've thought of football players as people and not just as my team that's going to get better. And I'm thinking about long-term futures and, what is this player going to do with less guaranteed money 15 years from now when they're no longer playing football? 15 years from now, I'm going to be worried about who they're drafting in the draft this year.
People complain all the time about NBA players. I can't believe this guy makes more than that NFL player. You think these people care about the well-being and the financial health of these guys? They don't care, man.
You guys ask these questions of me as if my entire mantra for 20 years hasn't been treat these people as human beings. You guys are asking me these questions.
But you're on the back end of the bell curve now, Dan. In the first 10 years of your career, things were ascending in this country toward that direction of people caring about others. And in the last 10 years,
What happened last 10 years?
It's completely dropped off the other side of it. And so now, the more we see power and corruption and all of that constantly every single day in the news at the very top levels of the country, why would we care about that in the NFL?
It was the Marriott Starwood merger.
I care about
That's what it was.
I care about people, but I also care about winning playoff games.
Put it on the poll
shifted.
at Le Batard Show, please. What do you care more about, people or winning a playoff game?
At this point, one. Whoa!
Landslide.
What I wouldn't
That
do
poll.
for one? What a silly poll. Whew.
You are talking about empathy and treating them as people. I don't know if you guys saw what happened with the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, where their second baseman, Marte, was heckled from the stands about his late mother, who died in a car accident in 2017, and just immediately started sobbing.
Doesn't he play for the D-backs? Was that a home game?
Well, some games.
No,
are
I think it was on the road.
games.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, that's the
Half of
question
them, in
that you're
fact,
asking, though. That's the
Would have been
first
weird at
question.
home.
But that's the first question that you have is: was it a home game or a road game? When I tell you a player
important
was
for the
heckled
story.
in a way that made him start sobbing on the field, the fan was ejected. And everything that happened after that was very paternal around him. It was a nice moment of humanity from the Diamondbacks, who had to feel kind of alone surrounded by people who don't think they're human beings. They're just uniforms running around.
Yeah, Torey Lovello went out there and he was consoling. I wonder, like, did the umpire at one point go, "Hey, we got to speed this thing up"?
Yeah,
here?
I mean, you can, like,
Pitch
that's
clock.
pitch clock.
Good
That's an automatic
Lord,
ball.
man.
Yeah. Two people. You look, guy starts, and then all of a sudden there's runners on first and second. Like, wait, hold on. Blue, the bases were empty. It's like, well, pitch clock. 2 walks have happened now because it's taken so long. Happened in Chicago, so that person may be the Pope soon.
So if you're wondering at home why we don't talk about baseball.
We're talking about baseball right now. You get more of this tonight.
Yeah, but
During the NBA draft.
as I'm asking for empathy and you end up talking about the Pope.
He's a White Sox fan, noted White Sox fan. Have you not seen the video? He goes around Vatican City or whatever it's called, and people are chanting White Sox at him. He chants White Sox back, puts on a White Sox hat.
Is he wearing a White Sox hat?
He's worn a
In the
White Sox hat
Vatican?
before. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. This big moment
With
for
the robe?
baseball. Yeah, with the robe. He went on, he
I
put
don't
it
like
on.
that.
What do you mean?
Respect the game.
Why?
What,
You
Would
gotta
you
wear the
prefer
Pope
he wore
hat.
like one of the papal
The Pope
hats?
hat, yeah.
Like a big Pope hat, and
It's
then it
Vatican
just has a
City,
White
buddy.
Sox logo
It's
in the
Vatican
middle
City
of it.
with like a
That would
little
actually be
bill.
sick. They should actually have the White Sox.
should
I'm not
sell
in charge
that.
of marketing. They should have a Pope Day where they give out the big papal hat with a White Sox logo on it. They should do that, right? That'd be Dan. That'd be awesome, Dan. Now it's made worse if that person is then heckling players about their deceased parents while wearing the papal hat. You don't want that. That's a bad look.
Not good.
That's where you disassociate yourself. Also, I'm going to go on the record and say, too far. Shouldn't heckle people about their dead
I thought you meant
parents.
the hat.
Too far. No, the hat's in fair play. That's too far.
I give you guys a story about a guy sobbing on the field, and the first question is home game or road game, and we end on the Pope in a White Sox cap.
To Chris Whittingham.
Jessica has compiled for us a list. I mean, because I don't want to say she is thrilled that Whitty is gone. I would not allege such a thing. But there were sparks created in the tensions of Whitty just generally being annoying and unusual. And I think being more comfortable than anybody in the history of our show showing everybody his weirdness is.
I love this, that we're just burying him on the day after he leaves.
Well,
We should do this more often.
Do it when he's here.
Enough. No, he's going
We
around.
did, to be fair.
He's taking
I know,
a
I'm teasing.
victory lap, and he's like, waving at everybody like, and Mike is calling him one of the greatest human beings he's ever met, and enough.
Well, he is.
Enough with the kid's 30. Enough with the
Left
eulogy.
me in a lurch, though.
Yeah, that's a great human being for you. Hey, Mike, hold this steaming bag of shit for me. While I go blow up somewhere else.
I have never heard someone describe themselves as a steaming bag of shit.
Oh, wait, I'm not. What?
You're in the middle of what we're doing. How do you get?
How do you think we got steaming?
We were just a bag of shit, and then you just got here, and the thing really caught fire. Top 5 weirdest things about Chris Whittingham. Is that what the list
Well,
is?
I decided to make it the top 5 revelations that we learned about Whitty over the last 2 years. He will be missed. Like you said, Dan, we often bickered on air because he could be very disagreeable and contrarian at times. And as a grumpy person, I tended to argue back with him constantly.
OLI? Do we have OLI?
We have one OLI.
Because
Nice.
he gave us so many weirdnesses. And one of the things I truly loved about Whitty, I do past tense there because I no longer love him.
Yes, that's right.
But he is alive,
Loved.
right?
One of the things I loved about
$50
Whitty
fine.
is his great comfort in, yes, that's weird about me. You think it's weird, and I don't care that you think it's weird.
Exactly.
OLI.
He wore 2 watches.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I
He
could never
did.
get over that one.
Yeah, at the
That's
end.
only an OLI because he revealed it to us 2 weeks ago. Apple sent him a watch when they hired him.
watch.
And he decided to wear that on one wrist and his watch on the other wrist.
He says he's going to do it going forward, period, that he likes it as a stylistic choice.
Of course he does.
Number
Weirdo.
5. Double bubble fucks him up.
That's right. He ate his gum.
He would swallow his gum every time.
Oh, that didn't even make the list. I forgot about that one.
Well, that's why it fucks him up.
Well,
Wait a second. He would swallow
Every
his
piece
gum?
of gum he's ever had, he swallowed.
He eats all his gum.
That can't be healthy.
But that's not
Well,
even
that's why he says it fucks him up.
But that's not
that's not
what
why.
Jessica's saying.
That's not why. The double bubble has so much sugar that it fucks him up. And it gives him a headache, and he can't eat double bubble. He revealed that on Mystery Crate last year during our candy draft.
Maybe if he didn't eat it, to Mike's point.
It's why it fucks him up.
I think they're separate revelations, though. I screwed up. That should have been number 5. That he swallows all his gum.
That is a ton of sugar, though, is it not? Double bubble is a specific burst of fireworks of sugar.
It's awesome.
More than most gum.
I'm about to throw up.
What is the best gum?
None of them. They're all terrible.
What?
I hate
What do you mean by
gum.
that?
Bazooka.
I hate
No.
gum.
Bazooka is my
Bubblicious.
favorite gum.
No, Bubblicious. Bubblicious. Or what's the one with the juice in the inside? When you take a bite, it like
The fruit.
Gushers.
the fruit
Gushers.
ones?
There you
That's
go.
No,
not
that's
gum.
not gum.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Grateful to have Amin in. He was at all the finals games. I want his takes that will echo throughout the offseason because I do believe it was, even though he predicted that that's what it would be, and OKC was the best team from the start of the season till the end of the season, and it wasn't much of a surprise, but it wasn't terribly satisfying either, which I'm confused by my feelings there. I don't know if I'm reacting that way to youth. I don't know what I'm doing because it was an overwhelming regular season team that I wanted to see be overwhelming against Indiana, and I never did.
Yeah. And by the way, that seems to be the case with almost every one of these teams. That's amazing, right? Think about the Warriors, their first championship. Amazing. But then that finals, they were down 2-1 in that finals. Think about the Miami Heat. Amazing, right? Amazing collection of talent. But yet, even in their first championship, forget about losing to Dallas, even the first championship, the path there wasn't quite overwhelming, right? So there's always it's never as easy as it looks. And there's so many variables because at the end of the day, there's a big difference between I play Milwaukee on Wednesday, and then Friday I go play Chicago, and then Sunday I play Minnesota versus big boy, you play me every single day. And all I'm doing is devoting all my resources to learning your weaknesses and trying to stop
I thought
them.
Indiana would have had an advantage if it had been like a 30-game series.
Yeah, we joked about that. It's like Pacers in 9 after game
But no,
6.
because I couldn't believe that Indiana got OKC to play 4 games that were the 4 worst games that they've played all season in terms of assist to turnover stuff. Like where I didn't recognize them as a team, given that I'm watching something that is historically great at turning other teams over and never turning the ball over themselves. To see them it was 4 games where they had more turnovers than assists. No, that's like, I just couldn't believe it. They happened to win one of them, the one where they made 3 3-pointers.
Right, but then I would argue that game 1 was the other way around, where they had all the turnovers forced and they had all the assists and they lost that game, and they probably shouldn't have lost that game. So I think it washes out. But the point is, like, everyone, even the most indestructibles, they all have something that they don't like being done to them, that if you can find it and if you have the personnel, you can impact it. Then I always talk about, like, when you say, oh, this team is going to beat this team in a 7-game series. How many times? We play that 7-game series 100 times, 1,000 times. How many times would that result happen where we think the favorite would be the underdog? In some cases, it's like 999 times out of 1,000, right? They're going to win, right? In other cases, it's like more like 501 times out of 1,000 that they're going to win. And in every case of that, the underdog winning, it's you got to find the right combination of things. And some of them are things you can control, some of them aren't, right? So 2016, Warriors beating the Cavs beating the Warriors. Some of it is like, hey, we need to attack these certain things. Hey, Steph Curry isn't healthy, attack that. Some of it is, and Draymond Green got suspended. and Andrew Bogut and what's it called? And Andre Iguodala got hurt during those finals. Oh, and by the way, Harrison Barnes, we're going to let him shoot every single time, right? And all those things need to add up, and then LeBron needs to make the best defensive play in finals history, and Kyrie needs to hit one of the biggest shots in final history, and then Kevin Love has to be ISO'd against Steph Curry, one-on-one, and he's got to get a stop. All of those things needed to happen in order for the Cavs to beat the Warriors. There's a lot of variables. Some of them you control, some of them you don't.
There are a number of things I want to get to in basketball, okay, including drunk OKC players and the story with Josh Kroenke. But before we get to that, do the Celtics make all of the same moves if Tatum's healthy?
They make some. I absolutely think they would have shed salary. Now, I think it would have looked different, right? So, for instance, trading for Anthony Simons, probably not what they were going to do because Anthony Simons with a healthy Tatum represents an overkill, right? Like they don't need more scoring at that point. Porzingis for George Niang, just like here, take him. I don't think that happens. But I think some form of salary shedding happens because, as we were talking about in the last segment, there are basketball reasons not to be in the repeater tax, right? They, like as I said, if you're in there long enough, they take your first-round pick and they move it to the end of the first round. You get the 30th pick. No matter what, even if your repeater tax only got you the 20th best pick regularly. Nope, it goes all the way to the end.
Is that lottery protected?
There ain't no protections, buddy. Take it all the way down.
Imagine you win the lottery and
you wouldn't. You wouldn't even be in the lottery.
If you win the lottery with a repeater tax, you're a bad team.
That's the point. They're trying to make it see so you know, like, hey, don't you dare. You can't aggregate salaries in a trade. So for instance, if I wanted to trade, you saw Kevin Durant got traded, right? It couldn't be Kevin Durant and Caleb Martin because they're above the second apron. So they take that away. Obviously, the lower mid-level exceptions. Your first-round pick 7 years out can't be traded. So, hey, I'll give you my 2032 first. No, you can't. So there are all of these things that handcuff the hell out of you out of improving your roster. Plus, you got new ownership coming in.
Nobody cares about this conversation.
We're part of the issue, right?
I was just back here like, whoa. I don't know
unless you're that deep into the game, unless you're caring about every single team in the NBA and you want to know all the machinations of value and all of that, why would you care about this? You shouldn't have to know all of these things to be able to digest why a trade happens, but it's why you don't understand why this player gets traded for 4 first-round picks while this player only gets traded for 1 when the disparity between their play is a gulf in the other direction.
Right. So I think that might be a place of curiosity for some people. Wait a second, why did he only go for this versus that? But for the most part, if it's not my team, people don't care.
Right.
The NBA, I think, does a lot of unfan-friendly things these days, and all of this, like everything Amin just talked about, Boston trading Kristaps Porzingis for George Niang, it's the most unfan-friendly thing I think the NBA does because fans don't understand. Why would they do that? Why would they trade him for George Niang?
I'll draw you a chart, man. I got a team. Oh, my team's getting good. Oh, we're really good. We're competing for a championship. Oh, we spend money. Oh, we're in this championship window. Maybe we win, maybe we don't. And then at some point, no matter how much we win, it's like, all right, some of this shit got to go. And then we go all the way back down. It's a cycle. It's created. This is the parity that everyone begged for.
Well, this is the thing, though. When you've got 7 different champions in 7 years and
8.
8 now, right, excuse me. And this last one was not surprising at all if you were watching all season, but because of the way the last 7 have gotten, you didn't think that it was a foregone conclusion. There was not trust in what the OKC team did during the regular season. But what I will tell you about those finals that was confusing to me as someone who really admired the way OKC played, you saw the Tom Haberstroh numbers, right? The Pacers made 705 more passes in that series than OKC.
Yes.
Like, when you talk about stylistically what it is that you'd root for when you've got that, the shithead, as Bob Ryan calls him, Titus, saying that SGA is a disgusting MVP, the reason is because of the style of play, is it not? I'd prefer to watch 705 more passes than what OKC was doing.
You got real close to calling him Sarah Jessica Parker.
Or the Screen Actors Guild, yeah.
It is 7 straight, not 8.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Don't do this.
I'll do it.
I'm looking at Wikipedia.
I thought it was 7 going into this season.
I'll do it for you, Chris. Watch 2018 Warriors, 2019.
Yeah, they won again in 22.
Watch when he realizes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like
He's saying not
back-to-backs.
competitive. Yeah, he's saying
Not
not back to back.
back-to-backs.
Yeah.
He's saying we've had
Consecutive.
8 different champions the last 8 years. We didn't have any back-to-back.
I think it's 7.
No
And
dynasty.
you guys are saying 8
I've
different
never heard anyone make that
franchises.
point you just made.
that there hasn't been a repeat champion in 8 years.
It's a semantics
Right.
game.
No,
yeah.
you're right about that. But I've never heard anyone make that point.
The repeater tax.
There you go. I'm first.
Oddball.
Wait,
I'm
you
like-
get
I'm like
repeater
Stugotz.
taxes? You get taxed if you win back-to-back championships?
The thing that I see happening with our show that is delightful, and it happens more on Wednesday than any other day, is that when someone tips over the garbage can and the fire leaks out, Billy jumps out from the shrubs, like just really
That's
excited.
why they call me the fireman.
They're really excited to be like, let's argue about whether it's 7 or 8. Let's
No,
argue.
I'm helping
Let's-
out. I'm actually trying to put an end to that
He said
argument.
semantics.
I'm saying it's just a semantics thing. You're both
It's not
right.
semantics.
No, it is semantics. He's right in that it was 8 different teams. You guys are right that it was 7 different franchises. This is a semantics argument. You both are
He's kinda
right.
right.
No,
He's kinda right.
no
Am I
repeats
right?
in
All
there.
right.
That's
Am I-
semantics.
am I-
Semantics, whether he's right or not. But he's right at semantics.
See, thank you. That's why I invited you in today. And I said, you got to be here, man. Big day for the association. No one covers the league like a mean.
See you at the watch along later.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a sec. That's a baseball one. Sorry.
What time is the draft at like 8?
No, right around the same time. as the
Really?
watch
6?
along.
That's early for a draft. What's the perfect time? Because 8 is too late and 6 is too early. I guess it's 7.
There you go.
There you go.
you worked
Way
it
to go,
out.
Billy. You did it by
It's at
yourself. It's semantics.
Just closing loops today. That's what today
Yep,
should be.
that's what you
Closing
are.
loops
Everyone knows
Wednesday.
you as a loop
Hey,
closer.
Chris knows his godparents now. Speaking of
Excellent.
closing loops.
Let's close that later, shall we?
Okay.
Loop fiasco.
I want to ask Amin, Jordan Poole was also traded yesterday, and I'm wondering if a very highly paid, successful champion basketball player is going to be associated with only one thing that doesn't have much of anything to do with basketball the rest of his career. When I say that name in a trade, in a transaction, do you guys think first of anything else other than punched in the face by Draymond Green? Is that what he's going to, no matter what his career is that what's going to be on the Jordan Poole resume at the end? And was never the same after that. Punched in the face by Draymond Green and then was never regarded the same after that.
Some would say he was never the same before that either. He had like a good series in the playoffs, a couple of good games. They rewarded him. But, I mean, I was not really enamored with Jordan Poole's game before they won the title, let alone before the punch. And so, to me, it's just like, yeah, this is kind of who he's always been. Because I remember getting in arguments with Warriors people like, no, you got to see, and da-da-da. I'm like, I'm telling you, he looks like someone who doesn't understand the value of what they're doing there. It's like, oh yeah, so we just get to run around and shoot threes. Like, well, no, not exactly. It's like, no, I get it. We run around and shoot threes. I'm like, no, there's more to it than that. No, I got it. And he played that way, and then he got punched in the face, and then he played that way, but didn't play as well, and then he got traded, and then rather than go to Washington and say, okay, reinvention time. This is my team. I'm going to show everyone that I am serious. I'm not a joke, whatever. He treated it like an absolute joke. And I'm going to tell you why, Dan. When you look at what Washington did, right, what they've done basically since the trade deadline, where everyone's like, what are the Wizards doing? They have C.J. McCollum, they have Marcus Smart, they have Chris Middleton. This makes no sense. They did that because what they had was a locker room of young people looking up to people who aren't good examples of how to be a pro. Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole. They did not behave in a way that's like, that's what I want my young people learning.
I'm not kidding you when I tell you the Washington Wizards this year, before they traded for Chris Middleton, as a basketball team, when they played, I watched a couple of their games, and it offended me the way that they were playing basketball.
What was the moment you realized this year offends
it was
me?
Poole and Kuzma. They're being so sloppy with the basketball. Like, they don't care about the basketball at all. Like, it's just,
Picturing you like, Valerie, can you believe this?
No, Valerie, I'm offended. Am I wrong, though? I mean, like, when I think of two teams in basketball this year that offended me, it was the Wizards and Charlotte on occasion, the way that they would use ball.
You think the way they use LaMelo Ball or the way they use the ball?
Both.
I think because one of those is a lot more offensive.
Let's put up Chet Holmgren here and the sound of him slurring his way through the speech. How did you guys feel about yesterday's parade here at OKC?
It started with Clay, Sam, and Mark for believing in me enough to bring me here in the first place. Because without them, I'm never even here. All right, let me lock in. Should we put you on the mic right now?
Yeah, it's our show. Somebody misspeaks and everyone else pounces.
Was anyone else worried that Chet was going to tip over while holding that trophy?
Not for Chet, for the trophy. Like, they looked like they were trying to get that trophy away from him to not dent it or anything.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Were you worried that the trophy would tip over Chet?
So we had Chet seeming a little drunk on stage, which is fair. And then we had SGA on Good Morning America. And I don't think it's drunk he's being accused of, but I think it might be a little stoned.
Jay Gilgeous-Alexander. Give it up all for SGA. Getting up and joining us this morning.
That's how you
Oh
say
my
SGA.
God. How does NBA champion that have a good ring to you, SGA?
Yeah, it's everything I imagined it to be. The opportunity has been amazing, and I'm happy and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Okay, have you been to sleep, Jay? Have you been, because you look a little sleepy. Did you get any rest since last night?
I got some rest, not as much as I'd like, but hey, you only live once.
Was winning a championship a burden to the Thunder and like
Sure seems
Oklahoma
like
City?
it.
Like, they didn't celebrate when they won. They rushed the parade like a day and a half after they, like, the quickest parade ever. I don't know how they must have been planning to win this. I mean, they wrapped the buses like 3 days early, which was a ridiculous decision. But then you're on Good Morning America. You sound upset to be there because it's too early. Like, did we inconvenience them by making them NBA champions here?
To be fair, man, Good Morning America's on very early, and Oklahoma's an hour back, and he didn't go to sleep the night before. He went out. He had a good time, man. You wake him up, and then you put makeup on him and say, you got to answer these questions. That's not a great. Come on, guys.
He's not stoned. Like he's got those tired, dry, heavy eyelids from not sleeping,
and a lot of alcohol consumption the night before.
Seems like a very reckless thing to accuse him of, to be honest.
how dare you, Chris?
On Good Morning America. I have a question for you guys that I had never considered until yesterday, which was the buses that they ride around town with, that they wrap with like the championship, the 2025 NBA champions or whatever, right? I had never considered what happened to those buses after the parade until Monday when I came in and saw one of the Florida Panthers championship buses just doing its regular job of hop on, hop off, driving around. And I just see it with like Panthers, NHL champions driving around right in front of the building. I'm like,
the Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah, there you go.
They didn't unwrap it?
No, it was still wrapped. And then I'm wondering, well, when do you decide to take that off? Like when you sell an advertisement? Like I would keep that on forever if I could, right?
I saw another one that was completely white. So they had taken off of one, but then I saw another red one that looked like it was coming from the parade.
I'll tell you, so one of the things that I was thinking about a lot in the aftermath of Game 7 was before the game, pre-game press conference, Rick Carlisle started by saying, hey, I saw a video. They already had the buses wrapped. And you know what? That's all I can think about. And I turned to the guy next to me and I was like, yo, that's some real great shit talk unless they lose. Unless they lose. But then, Tyrese gets hurt and all is forgotten. Right, but like kind of, I was like, what about them buses, huh?
Let's play the sound here of Jalen Williams. He's the 12th highest paid player for the Thunder. I know that Amin and I think some other people had some objections to me saying that OKC has sort of rigged the system. You get the fixed costs with your draft picks, and all of a sudden you can keep players in OKC maybe longer than they'd like to be in OKC. But before we get to that conversation, let's play Jalen Williams saying that he doesn't drink, and he's going to start drinking now.
Yesterday was my first time drinking ever. Like I never had a drink up until that point. And the beginning of the season, the guys want me to drink. That's like the big thing for them. I don't know why, but I told the beginning of the year, I was like, win a championship, I'll drink. I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll drink champagne. We could do shots. So we kept getting closer during the season, and I was like, I'm going to have to drink. So I drank a little bit. I had a couple shots, champagne. I had beer. It was all disgusting. I'm going to stick to Shirley Temples. I had a lot of those yesterday and a lot of water.
Okay, so you've never drank it before. You think champagne is disgusting. You think all shots are disgusting, so are you never going to do it again?
I'm retired. I can't speak on the parade, though. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I put it on the poll, please. Did we inconvenience the Thunder by making them win the championship at Le Batard Show?
Well, there's something about when somebody doesn't drink, everyone wants that person. Like, we had Danny around here. He's not a drinker. You bring him out, it's like, Danny, you gonna drink today? Come on, you want one? He's just like, no, I'm not drinking.
All right, great. You guys are great. I love leaning on people who don't drink and making them drink.
That's what they did with Jalen Williams all year. They're like, are you going to drink? When are you going to drink? Why do people want people that don't drink to drink?
Yeah. He was asked this question post game about like, your upbringing. He's like, yeah, my parents were, I would call it a God-fearing household, and he has this very long, thoughtful answer, and then he says, but then I had alcohol. At the end of the answer. It was so funny. Dan, they didn't know how to open the champagne bottles. They literally sat around like, do we watch a YouTube tutorial? And Alex Russo had to come in and like, no, guys, this is how you do it.
I don't know how to open a champagne bottle.
Really?
Nope.
As a two-time champion?
Not a champion.
Nope.
Not a
well,
champion.
that's not true.
Wow.
But I don't drink champagne. I don't know how to drink a champagne bottle.
I'm embarrassed all the time at the number of corks and things that I ruin because I can't open any of those things.
You guys, you don't know how to open a champagne? Man.
I mean,
nah.
I can.
20 CB,
bro.
You need a sword.
I want someone to pour it for me.
Pour it?
Yeah, whatever.
You don't pour champagne. You spray that thing. You let everybody know. Woo! A real champ would know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so busy yelling, you didn't hear Billy say that he would
Sword,
open it
with
with
a sword.
That's a trick that people do, a
Yes,
party
they do.
trick, and then you don't need
Never
to
seen
figure
that
out how
one,
to do it. You just go, you go right across the edge of it, go, and it shoots
Can you guys
off.
get me a champagne bottle for Zaz to try and open here at some point?
Oh, boy.
Let's
There's a
find-
lot of
Billy with the
equipment.
sword.
There's a lot of
Let's
equipment.
find. Certainly, we would have champagne here somewhere. Let's get to this.
I'm feeling
cronky-
pretty confident today. I'll do it.
Oh, there we go. We got the sword.
Let's get to this cronky sound. What did you guys make of this? The Denver Nuggets owner saying this out of nowhere.
For us as an organization, going into that second apron is not necessarily something that we're scared of. I think that there are rules around it that we needed to be very careful of with our injury history. The wrong person gets injured, and very quickly you're into a scenario where that I never want to have to contemplate, and that's trade number 15. And so, we're very conscious of that pushing forward.
Dan, it would be like.
No, who was talking about that? Nobody but you, sir. There was nobody talking
I never
about
want to
that.
contemplate this, but let me bring this up.
Let me be the only one who's thought of it.
Like something so out of the ordinary, like that. It would be like asking Dan about his diet and say, you know what, I would hate to eat the wrong thing and then I have to divorce Valerie. Like, wait, what?
Do you think there's a single person before that press conference that's attending? It's like I think he might mention trading Jokic.
I think if you're the PR person, you have to tell him, look, there's only one thing we're not going to mention today.
15.
The only reason that doesn't get warned is because of the fact that no one would ever think it could even come to his mind.
Very quickly you're into a scenario where that I never want to have to contemplate, and that's trade number 15.
You just contemplated.
Sounds like he has contemplated
You just
it.
contemplated it.
No one was contemplating it, sir.
I want to never
before
have to
you-
contemplate it.
you
He's
mentioned
just
it.
spitballing in the middle of the press conference.
Very
To be
quickly
fair,
you're into a
nobody-
scenario where that I never want to have to contemplate, and that's trade number 15.
Nobody thought about trading 77.
They had to contemplate it, though.
Again, though, no one spoke it before doing it, though, either.
If actually, Tony brings up a point. If the Mavericks had said that, something similar, the news would have just pounced on it, and then you don't make the trade.
There you
So
go.
maybe now they see this reaction to this sound.
It's like a weather balloon.
Where he was maybe going to think about doing the trade. Now
So
he's
it's
like,
more dangerous if the general manager has never mentioned it?
put the feeler out there.
I think that they started receiving calls like, so yeah, I know you'd hate to contemplate this, but what is this going to take? Because, like, obviously he will be available at some point in time, or you would not have said that, right?
He's not going to be available.
Hold on.
Why would you say that unless it's a possibility? If you're like running an NBA team and you don't make a call that day to be like, hey, so we kind of heard old Kronk say this crazy thing. How crazy is it? Like, what is it going to take to make that crazy situation happen? You wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't check in, right?
Billy, what can I interest you with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo for Jokic?
Dude,
But-
this team is never going to trade
How
Tyler
about
Hero or Bam
Jovic?
for anything.
Not putting him in.
Hightower? Highsmith.
You stop it.
Billy,
Well-
did I hear a zip it up from you at Kroenke this
Yeah,
morning?
right. You should, right? Tell him zip it up. Like, why are you even out there talking? Especially if that's what you're going to be doing. Zip it up. He can't be saying that. Can he be saying that?
It's the one thing he can't say.
He can say anything. He's the owner.
I know, but why is he even talking?
Because it was a press conference introducing their new front office, which Dan is going to get a kick out of this. Dan, their new front office is Ben Tenzer and John Wallace. Ben Tenzer, who I worked with at Summer League in 2012. John Wallace, who I scouted when he was at Georgetown.
Did you get a kick out of that?
Well, I want to examine. I want to examine that saying for a second.
Get a kick out of it?
Jeremy, look up the origins.
That's not how you get a kick out of it. That's not how you get a kick.
What is getting a kick out of
What is
something?
getting a kick out of something like what? So
Let me see that kick again.
It's
What was
move.
that
Yeah,
kick?
it's this move. It's this one. Ready?
It's clicking the heels.
No.
What is getting a kick out of it?
That's-
Is it when you whip a horse, you get a kick out of it?
Well-
Like what? So no, to answer your question, I didn't get a kick out of it. No. Well,
You don't think it's weird that people that like I worked with or even worse that I scouted have now ascended to the very heights of running an organization?
It's sad, honestly. The way you phrased it, it kind of made it sad because you're here.
What?
Nothing.
That I never want to have to contemplate.
Tony's telling everybody that he thinks we should have all seen the Halliburton injury coming.
I mean, it just feels so obvious, right? Like, we see what happens with KD, calf strain, Achilles. We see what happens with Jason Tatum. We see what happens with Damian Lillard. Now we see what happens with Halliburton.
No, the calf strain isn't something you should be playing through.
But it's a game 7. It's a game 7. We heard you have to play. Everyone plays game 7.
Well, you don't think he
This is
should
what I
have?
live for. This is what I live for.
I'm trying to figure out.
I'm Mike Ryan the other day.
You're
This
Mike
is what I
Ryan?
live
You're
for.
Mike Ryan.
I've worked my whole life.
Wow. What's
I've worked my
happening
whole
now?
life. Game 7.
I'm insulted for Mike Ryan.
Well,
then.
that's game 7.
I like that Mike Ryan. I like the limited
That's
fake
what you
Mike
live for.
Ryan who looks like Bert Kreischer.
All your life. All your life you live for this. It's where you live, like where you live for. Game 7. Play.
It's Mike Azaz though.
Well,
that's
the
what we were
greatest-
saying back here.
That's the greatest of the characters. Mike Azaz
So is that- should
arguing
Zaz-
with Zaz.
I'm offended by that.
Not as offended as I was by the Wizards before they traded for Middleton.
It just feels like more and more NBA guys are dealing with these Achilles injuries. And Jeremy had brought up a good point. Like, is that going to turn into the Tommy John of the MLB, where now Achilles is the one thing that used to be a career killer? And now guys are going through it like if it's almost like a meniscus repair. It's like, all right, we're going to get scoped. This is going to
Let's
happen.
rename
we're gonna
this.
come back.
Who's the doctor? Who's the doctor that does these main surgeries? Is there one guy who does the
The
Achilles?
doctor was a Dr.
Haynes.
Achilles.
Let's call it the Haynes.
Yeah.
Dr. Haynes. They got
What's
Tommy
his
John.
first name? We need to rename this injury.
Well, who got the first Achilles injury? That's really the big
Achilles.
one. You call
Achilles,
it
yeah.
Achilles. Well,
Very
in the
famously,
NBA, obviously it's Achilles. But is it Kevin Durant? That's the first memorable
no.
one. So you
No,
call
I-
it Kevin
well,
Durant's
because
surgery?
Cousins had
No,
one
Wes
before
Matthews
that.
had
No,
one.
there was-
Ooh,
Isaiah
Matthews.
Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, a lot of
Right,
people.
so we
had
can
it.
go back.
So hold on, but I want to ask because you're saying it's like Tommy John. The difference is guys get Tommy John and they come back and they're fine. Other than Kevin
Better,
Durant,
honestly.
Other than Kevin Durant, who's come back from the Achilles and was just fine.
But it used to be a death sentence in baseball too. Like
it's still a death sentence. Is what I'm
Right.
saying
So
in the
what I'm
NBA.
saying is this is the origin of it becoming Tommy John surgery, because what started happening when you saw this ascension of guys getting Tommy John surgery, it was because of essentially what is AAU baseball. Because you had kids pitching and only pitching from a young age. You had guys throwing curveballs earlier at a younger age, specialized training for the specific muscle groups that only have to do with baseball, not playing all year long in different sports and training different muscle groups. And so you saw more wear and tear at a younger age on the UCL. Now in basketball, we're going through this wave here where we've talked about it. Guys like Jason Tatum, who have gone through AAU basketball and trained from a super young age on a specific group of muscles, and now you're seeing the wear and tear that comes from that. So you wonder if the specialized training and load management, in the same way, innings management has only hurt the rate at which Tommy John has increased. I think that we're seeing sort of a similar pattern to what we saw at the beginning of this escalation of Tommy John surgery.
But you can't predict that Achilles injuries are going to then become like Tommy John, where you now become back stronger.
That's
like,
not
it could
necessarily
just-
what I'm saying. I'm saying more, I'm worried that this is the new, hey, this is about to spike over 10 years because of the way we're training our players.
So we did a whole episode of Basketball Illuminati that's out today about this, right? About this concept that, because people are saying they need to shorten the season. And it's like, it's not the number of games that did this. Thanasis ruptured his Achilles. You think it's because he was playing too many basketball games? No, it's because of training from a very young age, specialized training over and over again. And then the other part that you didn't leave into the Tommy John conversation is it's an unnatural movement, right? It is
Just like throwing a baseball.
The elbow was not meant to have that amount of force and torque on it over and over and over again. And because people are bigger and stronger and throw harder, the pressures are even higher. Same thing with this Achilles. It's because the bodies are bigger, they're faster, they're more explosive. The human body was not meant to withstand all of that. And that's what's happening for sure. The one thing, though, I was thinking about is, well, Tommy John, how'd they fix it? Well, they found this surgery that's amazing. So they didn't actually fix any of the other symptoms of hey, let's have the kids train less. Hey, let's have the kids be less specialized. No. We'll just have a surgery and then it'll be fine.
But we'll get it at 16.
Here's the thing that you're not understanding, though, about the differences between the two things, because you're not necessarily a baseball fan. Yes, both of the things are things. The pitching motion, more than anything, it's not meant to be done like that by human beings. But now we've gotten to the point in baseball where the big arm wants to have that surgery early and then resume his career, whereas the Achilles, I fear that Halliburton will never be the same in terms of quickness again. It's not the death sentence it used to be. People come back faster than they did, but when the specifics of the surgery are one makes it better and one gets you back faster, but your lateral speed and quickness is not going to be the same, and he kind of needs it the way that he plays.
No, well, that was my point. My point is baseball didn't solve the problem by addressing the symptoms earlier on that led to this. They just found a surgical procedure good as new. And so basketball doesn't have that equivalent. We've got to address it earlier, but nobody wants to. I got a kid who's 14 playing AAU, and you can't afford to be okay, now you're going to go play volleyball, because all these kids are working year-round, and they got trainers, and they're AU, and then high school, and then all these other club teams that they're playing for. They are constantly working and getting better. You get left behind in the dust very easily.
So is it a bigger product of can we diversify kids' game more, or is that just dead in the water?
That's
We can't do that anymore.
You're going to get to a point where your kid is playing basketball, Tony, and you're going to have a decision to make. It's okay, I'm going to put my daughter in volleyball now or softball or whatever, as the season switch, and so that we're not getting that
she
wear and
stays
tear.
active, right?
But she's still staying active. But what's going to happen is when she comes back to basketball, all these other kids have been doing basketball the whole time, and it's you're blown away by the skill level. I mean, it's crazy. I remember scouting, and you go months on the road watching college basketball, and at most you'd see one or two shooters per team. And now my kid, 14 years old, every team we played against had at least 3 or 4 knockdown deadly shooters. I'm talking about in-game. If I have a window that's open this big, boom, I'm knocking it down. I'm like, holy shit. I remember you used to go to the park and all day long, he's not a shooter. All right, he made a couple, now close out. Now you got to stay home on everybody all the time. And I asked my buddy who trains kids, and I said, how the hell did they get this good? And he said, they're all going to gyms and they got the gun. And they're shooting 1,000 shots a day on the gun.
Steph made it all possible. It doesn't make sense that he's on a magic carpet out there playing a different sport than anyone else and making it accessible to young people, because now everyone wants to play that way. And we're living in the renaissance of whatever that age is going to be in basketball. You're already not liking how many threes they're taking in games, and smaller dudes are all going to do what Trae Young does. Because that's the only way for them to get into the league is, can I make it from 40 feet? And the evolution of those things is what makes a baseball now be thrown 103 miles an hour, and makes it now that it's not 1 or 2 guys you see shooting from the logo. Oh, there's Halliburton. He can do it too.
They're all doing it. And baseball, by the way, another evolution in baseball is I don't need a guy who pitches 7 innings anymore, right? We're just gonna burn you out real quick, couple innings, and then we're coming in somewhere else.
They're discarded.
Maybe like that's another evolution in basketball. where it's like,
Desmond Bane's going to be a dinosaur in 9 years. Desmond Bane, there are going to be 40 dudes in the league that can do what because if you're exploiting the market inefficiency of Orlando and Houston are only bad because they're the ones that can't make the shots from three.
By the way, if we're talking about like the way that it worked in baseball, now there's no salary cap there, right?
Yeah.
But the best teams in baseball, even the Dodgers, have several positions at which they're platooning. Their depth is really their greatest strength. What did we just see in the NBA Finals? Having an extreme amount of depth was more important because if you can disperse minutes and have a whole bunch of guys who are only playing 20 to 25 minutes who you actually genuinely trust, well, you have fresher bodies. And that's essentially the same concept as, hey, your starting pitcher's only going to go 2 times through the order, and then we're going to mix and match with all these relievers who are fresher with the perfect matchup against the perfect guy. It's sort of the same concept, and I know for baseball, it's been a worse result for a lot of people.
You know what? I'm curious. I want to ask you guys a baseball question. What's the baseball equivalent of this? Because in basketball, somehow people saw that and said, it's the shoes. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You think high tops are going to save that tendon? Like, what are you, an idiot or whatever? So what's the baseball equivalent where they blamed it on something that has
sticky stuff? The sticky stuff.
Really?
We started blaming Tommy John on sticky stuff in the last 5 years, and when it got outlawed, clearly part of the sort of leak to some of the bigger reporters and writers was talk about how the sticky stuff is a big part of what's happening with Tommy John, when really it's the fact that guys are throwing 105 miles an hour. It doesn't matter if they have the sticky stuff or not.
The sticky stuff?
That's what they refer to it as.
It's exactly what you think it is.
The sticky stuff.
Like tar.
Rosin?
Rosin, tar, spray.
Good old pine tar.
Just under one umbrella, the sticky stuff.
Sticky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys just get me the video real quick and just put it in the picture of Joe Niekro when they caught him on the mound scuffing a baseball and the umpires gathered around him and he took the nail file out of his back pocket and tried to throw it past the umpires. Can you guys just get that video? What are you laughing about there, Billy?
Just Amin's face as soon as you said his name.
Whose name?
Joe Niekro.
What? Joe.
So he's on the mound, okay, and the umpires are surrounding this Niekro. And he's clearly cheating. And he's got a nail file in his back pocket, and he tries to throw it past the umpires behind them.
What are you talking
And
about?
then-
The process was good.
Exactly.
Result not good.
Brilliant.
So what do you mean, me?
Yeah,
We've all been there.
What?
Now, question: did that happen before or after the Naked Gun? You remember the Naked Gun? He goes up to the guy because he's searching for the gun, and the pitcher's got sandpaper and rosin and all this stuff on him.
I think Naked Gun was first. I was wondering if you guys were interested. Did you like the trailer to Naked Gun with Liam Neeson, where he's actually a badass, but he's also doing the I eat too much fart jokes? Like he's doing Frank Drebin, but he's also the guy from Taken, which is it's a funny evolution of Naked Gun.
So this is the amazing thing. Leslie Nielsen, a lot of people don't know this, originally a dramatic actor, right? And so when he did Airplane, part of the reason why that role hit so hard, because everyone was looking at him like, this very serious guy doing these dumb jokes like, Shirley, you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley. Right. So by the time he does Naked Gun, now he's effectively changed his whole career to, I'm a comedic actor. I'm really rooting for, wow, look at that. Well done.
You dropped that. That wasn't me.
It's like, why do you have a nail file?
He did. He blamed it on Palermo. He blamed it on Frank. Look at Frank Palermo.
He's like, what, that?
Look at the ump's hand on his face. He was like, are we really doing this? Look at him. Wait, hold on.
It almost worked. Look, one guy sees it.
One guy.
Only
Just
one.
One guy. Only there it is.
Only one. It almost worked.
And he goes to help him pick him up. Is this yours?
Good. He's got the inside-out back pockets. Like me, I wouldn't cheat.
He does almost go to pick it up like, oh, ump, you dropped something. Yeah, I'll help you. Oh, look.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
The point.
like a jelly in it. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just a burst of extra syrupy sugar.
Yeah.
How about Big League Chew?
Big
I
League
love
Chew's
that.
good.
Nasty.
But for
Little
30
bag of
seconds.
Big League Chew.
Everyone's
30 seconds.
grandma
30
likes Big
seconds.
Red, right?
Yeah.
Big
My grandma
Big
used to eat
Red's good.
cinnamon gum, and it would
Yeah.
burn the shit out of
So,
my tongue,
when
and I
we
would
tra-
still eat it.
When we traded for Shaq, the first game, he beckons me over. Shaq has this weird thing where he doesn't want to talk sometimes.
Big Aristotle.
So he just literally beckons me over with one finger. And I say, yeah, big fella, what do you need? And he goes, he points to his mouth and he goes, and I'm like, you want gum? I'm like, and he nods. I'm like, okay, so I go get the gum basket or whatever. He looks at it, he's like, what is this bullshit? I said, what? I need Big Red. I'm like, well, I didn't know. I've got this Orbit cinnamon one. So he's like, no, I need Big Red. So I had to leave. We had a game. I left. I went to a gas station to go buy some Big Red, right? I come back. He's already played, game's over. So the next game, I bring him the Big Red. He's like, no. Bring me the Orbit. Because he had a good game when he had the Orbit. Big Red, piece of shit gum.
Wow. Hubba Bubba Max is the one with the juicy explosion.
No, Big Red is terrible, and I think my grandma only eats it because she has old taste buds and needs to feel something.
She's like a coal miner, right? And that's the only way she could taste is if it's burning.
She's not a coal miner. But
Okay. Well, I mean, I just figured.
The only 3 seconds that fruit stripe gum lasts
it's a good guess.
is a good 3 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put it
My
on
grandfather
the
was a
poll,
coal miner.
please, at Le Batard Show. Is Orbit's the shittiest of the gum?
No.
How do you feel? Or is Orbit's
Now
a
you've gone
shitty
too
gum?
far.
What did you say? You said
I didn't say it was. That's what Shaq said. What is this bullshit?
It's put on the poll as well at Le Batard Show. Big Red, do you like it or do you not like it? And I still don't think we have a classification, a definitive consensus on what is the best gum.
Oh, we found one right here workshopping it. 5 gum.
What?
5 gum does the job.
Oh,
and it
no.
lasts
Forever.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
That's so
Shipping
bland.
container aligned.
Yep.
It's like 5 gum is good because I'm just trying to keep my breath fresh. It's not because it's
This
got a
is the
bunch of
purpose of gum.
No,
It's the point.
no.
It's a sole purpose
I chewed
of
it
gum.
for a week once.
What do you mean, no, it's not the purpose of gum? And what do you mean you chewed it for a week
The flavor was so good, I chewed it for a week.
There's no way.
And the flavor was still there.
Not the
Monday to Friday.
same
It's the
piece of
longest
gum.
you
You
slept with it?
No,
I
you
mean-
kept changing gums.
Found our new
That's
Whittingham.
not true. You didn't sleep. You just kept the
A
gum in your
week.
mouth. You brush your teeth.
I
you
put it
take
to the side. Put it to the side. Come back.
Right.
Keep getting
it's
it.
The
called
taste
5.
is the same.
That's how long.
5 days a week, Daniel.
It's the deadpan serious look on his face when he's
Yes, well, Whittingham has left the lane open for weirdness, and now Tony is here
That's
to
not that
fill
weird.
it.
That's not that weird.
how's the rest of that list going, by the way?
We'll get to number 4 in a second. I just do want to stop on Stugotz.
A week.
I want to stop on Stugotz. Much like Cuba's stuck in the 1950s
We're stuck on number 5.
with Russian lattes, Stugotz is stuck in the 80s with Big League Chew and Bazooka gum.
So
He's
good.
just
Oh, Bazooka sucks.
Bazooka's terrible.
Yeah.
I love Bazooka. I'm sorry.
Did you
Bring
read
me
the
back to a
comics?
better
Back to a
time.
time, but
You read some
yeah,
little comics? Bazooka Joe, right?
No, I didn't read that.
Hey, Le Batard fans, it's your girl Roz Gold on Woode. And this week on Good Follow Show presented by DraftKings, we got a whole list of great topics. The girls were fighting. I'm sure you have heard about it and seen it. The Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. Well, it's the aftermath now. And Sophie Cunningham has risen to popularity coming out of this. How about Alyssa Thomas? So the Phoenix Mercury, they're sitting at 3rd in the standings. We discuss whether or not are they overachieving and how AT is right at the heart of that. Nneka Ogwumike of the Seattle Storm, put some respect on her name. Skylar Diggins demanded it, and I do too. The New York Liberty, we talked about it. We told you they were super deep. Well, that depth is being tested. They've got an injury bug. They're down 3 starters, and they are in the midst of a very tough road trip. Plus, Logan, myself, and friend to your show, the Dan Le Batard Show, Meadowlark Media family, Juju Gotti joins the show, and we talk WNBA All-Star and reveal our picks for All-Star voting, balloting. So all the things, we talking about it. Come pull up with us. We drop on Tuesdays and Thursdays, wherever it is that you get your podcasts.
This episode is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
This is a delayed penalty, but I do believe that Mike Ryan was accurate yesterday when he accused Zaslow of being full of shit, that he would have wanted Kevin Durant if the Heat had gotten Kevin Durant. So,
minor penalty, 2 minutes, spreading propaganda.
Slight mischaracterization.
okay, you are penalized 2 days late. It's a really delayed penalty. Go outside in the street and figure out how to open that champagne bottle.
Just in the street.
Yeah, go do it in the street. Get out of here.
We don't want to mess.
Don't go to the penalty box. Take the sword with you. Yes, take all your confidence with you.
The sword is not going to work. It's not actual metal.
What?
Goal.
Okay.
Wait, this is it? Let me hit you with it.
Pablo Torre is a legitimate journalist doing legitimate journalism, no matter what it is that Bill Simmons has alleged around Pablo's Peabody nomination appearance. Pablo has another story. He found something else out, and Mike Florio is accusing the league of being in cahoots with its media partners and not getting Pablo's story out there. So, Pablo, explain to me how it is that you broke a story that makes you the 6th headline during a slow time on ESPN.com, such a giant story that it was.
What's the origin of cahoot? Was there ever a singular cahoot?
This guy gets the show. This guy gets it.
So that's so
first cahoot.
It's a hoot and another hoot, and they get together and are in cahoots.
Couple of owls cutting it up.
It's like, is there any goal that's not unmitigated? Is it?
Oh no!
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right. These hoots will remain, unsuppressed.
They are of
Look,
unknown
for me-
origin, Pablo, perhaps from the French cahoot, meaning cabin or hut.
Yeah, I ask because boondocks comes from a Tagalog word called bundok, which means like over there, I am told. So
Oh
we're
my
also
God.
Filipinos
Please-
responsible for that.
Please give me the highfalutin sound immediately. How do you
What,
not have it
boondocks?
ready already? No, it wasn't the boondock.
It was boondock.
No, it's
Boondock.
everything you just did there that made you
Hold
sound
on, hold
like
on.
Jordan
Wait, I'm sorry,
Schlansky.
Wait. Did of all people, did Tony really get on me for trying to pronounce an ethnic word correctly? Tony? Mr. Ethnic Pronunciation Guy
Thank you.
is saying I can go boondok.
No,
which
I'm just
may or may not.
I'm just letting you know what Dan felt was a little bit highfalutin was you trying to go ethnic on it.
Could also come from cohort.
That's fair.
What is the story, Pablo? Explain to me how big a story it should be. Explain to me why it's not a bigger story.
Yeah, I woke up wondering about this myself. The story is enormous. And I don't say that just because Florio and I agree about that. But it's the document that has been called, according to several people I talked to who are living in this space, the holy grail when it comes to how we think about what NFL owners are actually doing behind the scenes in regards to collusion. In regards to how they think and talk about players when you are not watching. So the document is a 61-page legal filing, the result of an arbitration hearing. And for people who aren't familiar, I'll just name some of the people who had to give witness testimony in this closed-door hearing. It is Roger Goodell, it is Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, 8 different NFL owners, NFLPA leaders, agents, executives. They're all in this document. Discovery, Dan, expedited discovery, the kind of discovery that everybody fears because they say, hey, give us everything you got, we'll sort through it. That happened here. So we have the emails and texts and testimonies and records and slideshow presentations, all of which indicates that the NFL attempted to collude with owners. We have Roger Goodell having edited in conjunction with Jeff Pash, the general counsel of his league, having massaged, edited, messaged what they want the NFL Management Council, this shadowy entity that no one talks about, but no one should stop talking about now, to give to the 32 NFL owners at the league annual meetings in 2022 in March, not long after the Deshaun Watson contract. And the very brief thing I need you to understand is that Deshaun Watson was, of course, to us, most known for all of the, sexual misconduct, dozens of lawsuits, all of that stuff that was alleged. For NFL owners, the problem with Deshaun Watson was the fully guaranteed contract he got. And so everything we're uncovering here, what did Goodell want, what did owners want, they wanted to avoid ever needing to give a superstar quarterback, especially guaranteed money. They had never done it before until Watson. They wanted to make sure they didn't do it again. And so that's why 2022, you will recall, it was Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, all up. And so this document is this treasure trove of details that explains the power dynamic, the power imbalance between the players and the league and the owners and the union. And everybody here looks terrible.
Pablo Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast, and he's doing very important journalism at a time that people have fewer and fewer resources to do sports journalism, but much of it is boring, and I need to dress it up for the TV audience. So can we put Zaslow in the picture-in-picture in the street, please, and have him try to open a champagne bottle? There he is, ladies and gentlemen, from the rock band Poison. Zaslow is on the street,
God.
and Zaslow I don't know whether he can hear us or not, but he should start trying to open a bottle of champagne.
He's giving a
he
thumbs up.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to do it. So just put it picture in picture so we can, have some fireworks around the, the legal jargon that Pablo's going to bore us with.
Point the cork towards you.
Pablo, I was gonna ask you.
I mean,
were you more offended that you got a lot more attention for looking for Bill Belichick's girlfriend and all that? But then Dan went up me and they're like, are you more offended that we want to watch Jonathan Zaslow pop bottles than listen to you talk?
I mean, I did think that there would be some bottles popped because of this whole giant scoop that everybody who knew about it was chasing. And there it is. Nope, Zaz has done it.
Oh, yeah, this is sad.
That's a sad way to shake it.
I am going to interpret
Does
this
he not know how to
as
put
a
a thumb in?
celebration.
Why is he shaking it like that?
Hey, yo.
Put a thumb in, dude.
Stick a thumb in there.
All of it was pornographic.
That was I can
Also,
Is it
I don't think there was a
is
cork.
it possible for a champagne bottle to have erectile dysfunction?
Pablo,
'Cause
hold
that's
on.
what that
Pablo,
was.
hold on. Hold
Nope,
on,
it's still
please.
going.
Just
I retract my previous statement.
Guys,
Zaz got a kick out of that one.
Just shut up for a second. Just all of you, shut up for a
Ooh,
second.
Still leaking.
In the middle
Wasn't healthy.
of what was happening there, Billy yelled at Zaslow, point the cork toward you. And I heard Chris Cody say, my Uncle Mike lost an eye that
He
way.
did. My Uncle Mike lost his eye opening a champagne bottle. R.I.P. He didn't die from the champagne. He's no longer with us, but he died with one eye. And it was because of it. That's my whole life. You watch me. When I open I can open a champagne bottle well. I'm like.
Wait, do that towards
somebody
the
else's
camera.
eye?
So I just get up in the air,
Yeah,
away from,
lower. There
get
you go.
away from me.
We'll
Yeah,
get to
do it.
Pablo's important story in a second.
R.I.P. Uncle
Why have I never heard of this Uncle
Heard of
Mike?
Nelly Doogie, Wild Bill,
He's not a
Uncle
Cody.
Dick.
I have heard.
He's not a Cody. It's my mom's side.
I have heard about so many uninteresting members of the Cody family, and over on the other side, I got all one eye. Party so
glass eye.
much.
He had a glass eye.
Parties,
He did?
It was
Parties-
weird. It didn't look at you. It kind of looked off to the side.
What color was it? Did it match?
No.
It didn't
It
match
was
the color of
He
his
had blue
eyes?
eyes, and the glass eye tried to
Was
be
brown?
blue, but it was just like a different shade of blue.
He
Can I
couldn't
ask a
get the
question?
colors
Can
right.
I ask one question that might be rude, but I journalistically feel obligated?
Go for it.
How did Uncle Mike die in a way that was particularly cartoonish?
Good old-fashioned
Or
heart
was
attack,
this-
I believe. Good old-fashioned heart attack.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Classic H.
My bad.
All right, you
That
know
was a
what?
heat check.
Hold
That was a
on-
journalistic
hold on
heat
a
check.
second.
I was like, feels like the guy with the
Minor penalty,
The
2
glass
minutes
eye
for
might
a
have-
terrible question.
Go away for 2 minutes. No, Pablo, we're just going to put him to the side for a second and his very important story. And we're going to talk about Uncle Mike because you guys were so busy trying to get your jokes off that nobody seized on Chris Cody saying to all of us, there's an Uncle Mike who I've never heard of. I've known the Codys all my life. And Uncle Mike lost an eye. And he died with one eye. And he had an eye before that was fake and wasn't the color of the other eye. And Uncle Mike lost his eye because he didn't know how to open a bottle of champagne, much like the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Zagacki. And it's, You might want to get my mom on for this one because that's her brother. We could talk about Uncle Mike.
I have more questions. Does your father have any answers here? That I can't believe Uncle Mike. Look, the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody is wonderful. It really is on YouTube and elsewhere because the family dynamic between Chris and Greg, curated so nicely by Yeti, so carefully by Yeti, is legitimately funny. And you're introduced to this weird family led by this patriarch who is the weirdest of them all. But now there's a one-eyed uncle in the play.
Well, there was.
There was, excuse me, one I've never heard of.
How old was Uncle Mike when this happened, and how old was Uncle Mike when he passed?
I would have to ask my mom when he lost, like how old he was when he lost. He had a glass eye as long as I knew him. It happened young in his life, and then when I was probably 10 or 12, he died. So he was probably in his early 50s. But yeah, one-eyed Mike. He was a great uncle. Hairy back. He'd always be shirtless. He lived in Delaware. We went on he had a pontoon boat, and we'd go out with Uncle Mike.
You described a monster.
He had like a white hairy back. He had hair all over.
Ivy Uncle Mike.
I've got one eye. I've got a hairy back. I've got a pontoon. I'm dangerous. I'm
Lives in
giant.
Delaware.
No, and I live in Delaware. Like that's a killer.
And its name is Boondock.
That person is scary.
Uncle Richard was honestly crazier than Uncle Mike.
Wait, you have two Uncle Dicks?
He died
Another
too.
Uncle Dick?
That's Aunt Bonnie's late husband. That is
Zaslow looks like Aunt Bonnie.
He does. He did earlier this week.
Wait, what happened with Uncle Richard? You were going to tell us.
He died in a car accident, actually.
There are two Uncle Dicks?
That is true, but we called him Uncle Richard.
Probably for clarification purposes.
But he kind of was a dick. It's funny.
Pablo,
Uncle Dick, really nice.
Pablo Torre resumes with us now. Pablo Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast. I urge you to listen to it or watch it because it is one of the last things out there and one of the few in this sports space actually digging up stories and doing the work. So what's the backstory here with you and Florio? And if we were trying, Pablo, if as a company we were trying to create a cloud of a big bonfire of celebration, Pablo did a big thing. Everyone pay attention. How do I get people to pay attention to this story as they're all wandering away to talk about whether SGA was stoned on Good Morning America?
Yeah. First off, condolences to Chris on all of his dead uncles. That sucks. I would say that as the NFL is monitoring my media appearances, which they are, I just like that they had to listen to that as well.
Which they are.
The way, look, this, Dan, I just need to stress that this is a document that neither the league nor the owners nor the union wanted out. Like, they fought extremely hard. Florio, the sell on this is that Mike Florio is as plugged into this as anybody. He's as fluent and obsessive about this stuff as anybody. NFL, palace intrigue, and the law. And he couldn't get it. And so when I brought it to him, it was like, to quote Chris's living dad, a dog with a bone. Like, the texts in here, right? The way that these guys talk. You have Lamar Jackson in this document talking about how he couldn't hear from the Ravens because, his phone was busted. The microphone on his phone didn't work, which you could take at face value or not. You could get to Kyler Murray, whose contract became the subject of a text message exchange between the owner of the Cardinals, who signed him to it, and the owner of the Chargers, and in which, by the way, sounding again kind of like Greg Cody, the Cardinals owner says, "Hey, Dino." And Dean Spanos, the owner of the Chargers, proceeds to celebrate how Kyler Murray's contract is going to set him up to pay Justin Herbert fewer guarantees. You have John Mara, the owner of the Giants, talking about what would happen if he went and talked to Jerry Jones. You have, again, Goodell on this testimony, dead to rights in terms of what he did. You have all of these ways of getting into the room where they don't want you to see. And the key part about the union here is that the NFL Players Association, which is the force that should be the force to counterbalance these billionaires, got so caught up in their own internal politics that they never wanted anybody to know about this stuff, which materially, if it had been proven in this hearing, and it was not for reasons we can separately debate, would have been billions of dollars on the line. But the arbitrator found that it was merely the NFL's attempt to collude, and he could not prove that the owners listened to the league, although you could reasonably differ on whether that standard was met or not. So I don't know, man. Secret texts from famous people and billionaires that are very important, that materially affect how you should see how the sausage gets made when it comes to every NFL story that gets reported in terms of contract value and in terms of why it was that way. It's kind of all in here. So I would appreciate some champagne being popped, less limply, actually, for that reason.
Let me ask you a question. I'm no legal expert, but if I attempt to murder someone, it's not like, well, he was unsuccessful, you can go. If I attempt to rob a bank, it's not like, oh, he's unsuccessful, you can go. Attempting to commit a crime is still a crime.
Horseshoes and hand grenades.
Well, the arbiter that's saying, though, like, what's semantics here and what's not, Pablo? Because this would be a bigger story if the arbiter had ruled differently.
Well, so what he found clearly, and I'll quote the thing just to give you a sense of how this is not my spin. Quote, this is the arbitrator. There is little question that the NFL Management Council, with the blessing of the commissioner, encouraged the 32 NFL clubs to reduce guarantees in veterans' contracts at the March 2022 annual owners meeting. End quote. Right? That alone. I mean, and there's more. They tried to do it. But there is this standard of a clear preponderance of evidence, which is vague enough given the context of arbitration, in which, by the way, the arbitrator needs to satisfy both parties, to be cynical about it, because that's a job that needs to be called back to, so he wants to do more of this. The point being, look at the texts. Look at how the owners talk, Dan. Every time. So what's so interesting about this is that Mike Florio, many people that are on generally the player side of this, right, you included, there are all these understandings and these inferences about this is what they're doing, and they don't want you to know about it. Here is the proof that they are talking about this in writing in ways that make it very clear that what the owners have is what the union only dreams of, which is solidarity. The owners collectively preserve themselves by celebrating each other's contracts in a way that allows them to pay the players less. This is documented over and over again. What the arbitrator felt uncomfortable doing was, in the absence of an owner admitting to it, he said he could not prove that the owners were doing this because of what the league had also undeniably advocated them to do. And so it is enormous. It's just caught in some legalese that allows them to spin it away.
Your saying it's enormous doesn't make it enormous, and I need to speed this up a little bit with a little cotton candy for the people because I've lost the back row. They've stopped listening. So let's speed this up with some NBA talk with Amin here real quick. Get as much information on the NBA as we can just to put some sorbet on this between the journalism and the serious stuff and, the things that people in our audience actually care about. Giannis, should the Bucks keep him?
Yes.
You think he's going to stay there?
Yes.
That makes the Miami Heat do what?
Call back about Kevin Durant? Like, hey, is it too late?
Run it back.
Call Houston. Hey, you want Jovic?
If they miss on Giannis, then what's the Miami Heat's move?
Just wait for the next whale. Maybe it's Jaylen Brown. Who knows?
Just wait?
Well, that's what they've been doing. That's what... This is not a quick. If you want rapid fire, we need to keep moving. If you want to have a discussion, we can have a discussion.
He doesn't like your
Go
answers,
ahead.
I mean.
Take your time.
It's okay. So I heard you guys talk about this the other day. I'm like, yeah, it's a no-brainer because A, the East is open, but B, what else are you gonna do? You can't say I'm gonna wait for Giannis. That they may never come. That's the most ridiculous thing. You can't wait for the one superstar that you want. You got to go get a superstar, and then you got to make moves after that.
Kendrick Perkins says that Cooper Flagg is LeBron James mixed with Kevin Garnett.
The former NBA player I would listen to the most about Cooper Flagg is Brian Scalabrine.
He's super high on him.
Cooper Flagg, Adam Schefter reported, an NBA executive, saying that Dallas winning the lottery was worth between $500 million and $1 billion to Dallas.
I would question why that executive told Adam Schefter, no other NBA media person.
So you're questioning Adam Schefter there?
I'm not questioning Adam Schefter. I'm sure he got an answer. I'm just questioning why that guy decided to give that answer to Adam Schefter.
How much better is Houston?
A lot.
Do you expect OKC to repeat?
No.
What is Boston next year?
A good team, middle of the road team in the East.
Middle of the road?
Yeah.
Who is coming after OKC that they're not repeating? Like you said
The
no.
West.
You said no, and you're just taking the field because
Yes.
you think the field.
Yes.
LeBron's future.
L.A.
Steph Curry's future.
Golden State.
Zaz, you want to get in here? You look like you're just dancing, and you look like you're ready.
I'm enjoying the pace here. That's all.
It has sped up because should I go back to journalism and Pablos, or should we play another round of this?
I like this.
Luka can opt out.
I mean, come on.
He could go after
this
Luka.
isn't. What are we, guys? What are we doing? What are we doing? I have texts in here in which J.C. Treader, the head of the NFLPA, is calling Russell Wilson a wuss. He is blaming him for the lack of guarantees in the NFL, which is to say, we have a scandal in the union that explains why maybe the billionaire owners won this case. All of that's in here. The roadmap for every scandal you want. 15 different stories are in this. And we're getting, is that a, what, where'd you get that wig, Zach?
Whoa,
What did I do to deserve you hurling insults?
It's Stugotz.
Hold on a second. Hold
Look, it's
on.
young Stugotz.
Hold
Major
on.
penalty, 5 minutes, screaming
I mean,
comedy.
it's...
Hold on. Pablo.
Why can't I just be confident?
Oh, God. What is that?
That's young Stugotz.
What was that?
Wussel Wilson.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, screaming comedy.
I'm sorry. That's 10-minute penalty. So if you've got any last words on the way out, just tell us what we need to know about this Pablo Torre finds out story. But otherwise, you're gone. You're dismissed.
I have another question for you.
And no more questions for him. And the NFL is monitoring your appearances. Like what is
I'm just
that?
saying,
What a segment.
everybody is trying to figure out how I got this document because that's how much it means to them. I am not exaggerating. This is a thing that the richest, most powerful people in sports did not want you to know. That's the pitch. Do you want to know it or do you not? Do you want to find out or do you not? Do you want to know what's hiding under the wig or do you want to just look at the wig? I'm a guy who wants to see under that thing.
So
I want
how'd
to look
you-
underneath.
How'd you get it?
About?
Yeah, how about I say? Let me do the Andrew McCutcheon. Yo, so how'd you get the document?
I think he can't reveal that.
Well, Andrew McCutcheon did.
I mean, guys, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
Unless you pop an even larger bottle of champagne.
All right.
In which case I might consider it.
Pablo Torre finds out all the dirty details of power that these guys aren't interested in because they just want what are the transactions? What's the NBA draft going to be like?
What's Ace Bailey doing?
Yes. What is he doing?
It's the biggest question of the night.
I kind of feel like he's got a secret plan.
Yeah.
I heard Ace Bailey changed agents, by the way. I heard he changed agents recently.
Why are you
It was
still
sort of an
here?
overblown story.
How is he here?
Oh, you didn't want more reporting?
I
Sorry,
thought-
let me
I
go
thought-
back to the boondock.
Pablo
Goodbye.
Torre Finds Out is the name of the podcast. It is doing award-winning journalism and getting Peabody nominations and Edward R. Murrow awards. Tony, meanwhile, is having fun going to Vegas this weekend.
Attaboy. MMA hangout.
2 parties.
Live at the Circa Hotel. A top stadium swim, by the way. Go check it out. Presented by Boost Mobile.
By the way, as the NHL closes down its season and the NBA closes down its season, I am going to do a baseball show tonight.
Woo!
Yes, with
Jacob Lopez versus Jack Flaherty.
with Tim Kirkshin. Billy, I would love if you would like to participate. We would love
Yeah,
to
Billy,
have-
come hang out with
Invite
us.
right now. I mean,
Come hang out with us. Be really fun.
I'm just saying we haven't talked Marlins baseball at all this year. I did delight in seeing the other day that they have an actual pitcher whose last name is Junk, which was
I was thinking about picking him up in fantasy, to be honest. It's
been really good.
You thought about picking up Junk?
I shouldn't have told people. I tipped my hand now. Fantasy deadline's right around the corner. It's desperation. time.
Jansen Junk.
Yeah.
It's a good pitcher name.
It's not a good name.
He throws
it's-
6 different pitches.
Put it
Yeah,
on
the
the-
perfect.
Named Simpson pitched the other day. He made his MLB debut. He was like the 619th pick in the year that he was there. I mean, baseball's good about having like these people get drafted 1,297 go make their debut.
And his story's crazy too because he was added to the roster at the end of 2023, didn't make it into a game, got hurt going into spring training of 24, so he accrued an entire year of MLB service time without ever having played, then started the year at AAA, and now made his major league debut. Oh, yeah, Marlins. my
Minor
bad.
penalty, 2 minutes, rambling.
Having enthusiasm about sports.
His name is Junk. That's all we needed.
No, that was Simpson. That was another guy.
Save that for tonight, whatever
Yeah.
you guys are doing over there.
Chalk
Yeah.
L's aboard
Have
or
fun
something.
tonight.
Billy, you are welcome to be there tonight. Everyone is invited. Amin is threatening for an NBA draft party to break out. The Pablo Torre story. I really do want to ask
Blow
you
story.
guys. I want to ask you guys this question. these stories are very difficult to get made, to vet, to get past lawyers. They're usually not worth the time. You don't want to fight the NFL. You certainly don't want to welcome what the NFL will bring if it is furious about something. And so they're hard to do, and nobody wants to do them. And if you do them, and the league has so many league partners that the story doesn't get out there, I don't know, that feels kind of shitty. Just feels kind of shitty to have someone do the work that is the hardest work to do that everyone would prefer you just not do. Even though it's like, oh, look, the owners are doing the shitty things to the even the quarterbacks are just employees. They're just people you could joke about by text. Hey, I got a little less on Kyler Murray over here. You're going to be able to get Justin Herbert cheap. And it's just, I don't know. That seems like a story that should catch fire. It feels like, I don't know how you do it because I've got to get people interested in the minutia. But what I was asking at the beginning of the show, I thought you guys liked the dirt. Like, I thought you liked the dirty things that the rich people don't want you to see.
The most interesting thing I learned is that Michael Bidwell calls Dean Spano, Dino. Hey, Dino, how about that?
Exactly what you imagined, right? Hey, Dino, I got Kyler Murray cheap, baby. Discount bid.
Plays video games a lot. Used it against him.
I mean, the story led us to learn that Uncle Mike had a glass
Oh,
eye.
wow.
Chris had an uncle, whatever his name is,
Uncle
with the
Richard.
riverboat up in Delaware.
Biggest revelation, Suey, right? Suey nominee, Uncle Mike.
Thank you, Pablo, for all of the stuff that we
He
found
found
out
out.
about Chris's family.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I feel better getting it all out, honestly.
Chris asked a good question off air, which I feel like is important that he didn't want to ask, but I'll ask on his behalf because it's Wednesday. So I'll ask the question: once you've established enough credibility, can't you just make stuff up?
Yeah.
And then people just believe whatever you're saying.
Chris asked that question?
Yeah, once you went kind of dumpster diving with the whole Belichick situation, and then when oh look, we got the ring and this and that and whatever, and now it's no, you just say whatever about the NFL, and people are gonna be locked in, right?
NFL definitely hates Pablo, right?
For sure.
So much.
I mean, we wonder if we hate Pablo, and he's our coworker here.
We're with you, NFL.
Ooh, Greg Cody, coworker, friend, Pablo
Wait a minute,
Torre.
did a game of Fock just blow over here? We've got friend or coworker with Pablo Torre? Yep. Hold on, let's go around the room. What is the music for a quick game of Fock over here? Friend or coworker? I'm going to go to all of you, and then on a Wild Willie Wednesday.
That show has a host, sir. You're
Yeah,
not the
I know.
host
What are
of
you
Fock.
superseding me? What are you, Tony Reale? And I'm
What
Max
I
Kellerman?
was trying to do actually is set up that What Would You Do? The Pickle is a new game that also has a new game show host on a Wild Willie Wednesday. And so that's what I was attempting to do. But let's play the first game, shall we?
I want to play Fock.
I want to play the pickle.
Okay, it sounds like we only have the pickle music ready.
Okay, all right.
They sell whole pickles in my movie theater, I noticed the other day.
What?
$2.99.
That's outrageous.
Zaz just won the pickle.
Did you buy one?
I offered my son, they have pizza, they got chicken tenders, they got pretzel bites, or a pickle.
Dill?
It's a great sentence you just uttered.
$2.99 is a good deal.
I think one of the greatest things about Adam Sandler is that he will walk around New York just eating straight from a jar of pickles. How do we play this game?
It's kind of gross. Yeah, it is gross. So you didn't buy one?
No, my son didn't want it.
Oh, okay. All right, it's time for the pickle. And here's how this is going to work. I'm going to give you a scenario, and then you tell me how you would handle it, and then I may tell you how I handled it.
Is this a Tim Burton movie?
A haunted house?
It's good music.
This
No,
seems
this
like a
is a good-
lawsuit
this is
waiting
good-
to
I
don't know what to
happen.
do right now. I'm in a pickle.
No,
This
it's
is
good.
I'm in
This is
trouble.
gonna be-
I'm anxious.
This is a
I'm
lawsuit
anxious.
waiting to happen.
I'm waiting for Elena Bonham Carter to
Commercial
walk
free,
in.
baby.
Why would you choose that as a lawsuit that's waiting to happen? Because
I
it's Wild
just-
Willie Wednesday.
Yeah, well, I didn't choose this. Anywho. All right, so I was recently in a pickle, and I'm wondering what you guys would do. And then I'll tell you how I handled
They
it.
sell pickles in my movie theater.
Yeah? Did you get one?
How much it costs?
$2.99.
What a deal.
So I've been walking around, and
Adam Sandler walks around New York sometimes with a jar of pickles.
That's gross.
What kind of music is this? Sounds like Tim Burton.
Wait for
That's a
Elena
lawsuit
Bonham
waiting
Carter.
to happen.
Yeah.
Elena Bonham Carter to walk in.
So I was walking around, and a friend of the show, and I wasn't going to do this on this show because I thought I could get away with doing this on Mystery Crate, but I'll do it here now that we're in the pickle because I figured on Mystery Crate this person wouldn't hear it. So I'm walking around in front of the show, Big Mac gives us his hot takes, usually about how Chris Greer should be fired, the NBA drafts today. But for some time now, Big Mac has been saying, "Hey, Mike," and then we have our conversation.
You got pickles on that Big Mac?
What do you do?
They say pickles in my movie theater.
If someone that you talk to regularly calls you the wrong name?
This actually happened to my brother. So at the local sub shop Hungry Bear by our house, my brother's name is Chris, and the guy who owns it or who runs it calls him Adam. But the problem is he gives him like special privileges. Like if there's a line, he goes, "Adam, come on over here." And then my brother's done it for so long that my brother at Hungry Bear is Adam.
I have gotten used to now. I just react every time someone asks me if I'm Jay Mariotti or Mike Golick. Yes, is what I say, and I keep it moving.
Jay Mariotti's good. The eyebrows. That's what
It is the eyebrows.
Oliver Platt.
Billy, what did you do?
Something tells me Billy would never correct him.
Well, that's the pickle.
They sell individual pickles in my movie theater.
Yeah?
How much do they cost?
It's $2.99.
What a deal.
So I never corrected him.
This music's pretty spooky.
And then a couple days ago, Big Mac comes up and said, "Hey, your name's not Mike.
Oh shit.
Oh wow.
You're Billy. I saw a lower third. You're Billy. Why didn't you correct me? You should have corrected
great.
me."
That is great.
And
tell me you pivoted.
My
Tell
middle
me.
name's Mike.
There you go. That's the pivot.
Well, no. What I said was, which wasn't gonna answer. I go, "Ah," and I just kind of kept. I just kind of kept walking.
That is one of your
Like,
moves.
"Ah."
That is
I
what.
just kept walking.
Also a good pivot.
Billy, when you, in the rare instances when you concede that you've been checkmated, there is no move for that when you do it. It's your signature move when checkmated. Just make a sound.
"Ah." But here was my thinking, right? And this is going to sound like weird thinking. If I go and I make the correction, then we're both uncomfortable, right? So I don't need to make the correction. It wasn't like a harmful thing. We were having pleasant, conversations. So like, I also, there's times that I'm in physical therapy, and then people in physical therapy don't know my name. And they don't want to say Guillermo. So it'll just be like, "Hey, Gil." And I'll be like, "Hey," and at no point have I been like, "Hey, you call me Billy or whatever," because I'm like, do we need to do this whole thing? So when I was being called Mike, I was like, I don't need to ruin this conversation or moment or slow it down by making anyone feel bad and saying that's not my name. And also, and this is where I was trying to work on like some heaven points, some bonus points. I was like, I'm doing Mike a service here by having this person think, "Wow, I really like Mike. This is what a pleasant interaction
Who's
with Mike." That I don't know which Mike it could be. It could be any Mike. But I was like, this person is enjoying this moment. I'm enjoying this moment. If they think that they're having this moment with a Mike, then they go tell someone, "Oh, look, I had this Mike is such a nice guy." I don't need to be known as a nice guy. Have them think Mike is a nice guy,
You guys have never chosen better music for a segment that we've done.
Thank you.
Sounds like a Tim Burton movie.
This is hugely anxiety riddled, and what Billy just said there was logically sound. You're putting Big Mac in the position of, well, you have to confront me about this, or we can just go never speaking of this again, and at least it'll only be me with the awkwardness. Maybe you'll never know.
Do you guys know what they call Big Mac in France? Le Big Mac.
Bundok.
It's not
Oh.
Royale with cheese.
That's quarter pounder. Metric system.
They don't know what the metric system is over
Exactly.
Billy, do we want to play friend or coworker, or is that it's a good debut?
Who was it? Oh, I remember who it was.
It was
All right.
Pablo Torre, but is that do you have other pickles?
No, that was just the pickle for
That's
today.
the
Just one
debut.
pickle,
It's a
yeah.
successful
It's
appearance.
Not the pickles. Come on, that's crazy.
Okay, one Big Mac. You guys mentioned this. He has not yet become a character on our show, but he's from another time. He wears a bit of a top hat.
You know what I found out? Someone told me yesterday.
Fedora.
You know what someone told me yesterday? And this is like, we're going way deep in this. They told me that he has an identical twin brother. What? Who was here the other day, who also wears the same hat, but doesn't work here. So they were just interacting with each other, and then one of them left. And then I was like, is that? No. I don't. That can't be. That can't be real. They're like, no. He introduced me and said, "This is my twin brother."
He is
What a fascinating man.
He is a wonderfully affable man, but I saw his dark side the other day because he's the gatekeeper here for the Elser Hotel. And when I say from another time, and it might not be a top hat, I think someone said it's a fedora, but it's not a top hat. But I don't think it's a fedora either.
The top hat is Mr. Monopoly.
I know it's not an Abe Lincoln
Is it
hat.
called a bowler? Is that what they're called?
Maybe it's a bowler. I think it might be.
He's
a
the
bowler.
man, so I don't know if you're going to disparage him here, but
I'm not
I would
disparage
speak
him.
out against
Is
that.
it like a Bear Bryant hat?
I'm not going to. No.
Just not houndstooth, but like the style.
You've never
of
seen
it.
him?
No,
Is
I've
it a
seen him.
Breaking Bad hat? What do they call that? A meat something?
Like Roy. It's like Roy's hat.
Pork pie. That's what it's called.
I think I'm going to say it's a bowler is what I'm going to say, but it's a squarer hat than I'm used to seeing. It's a little bit taller, but it doesn't rise to the level of top hat. And so I don't know exactly, but you guys are really grilling me, and I'm beginning to feel interrogated.
Yeah.
The thing that I wanted to say about Big Mac when I say I saw his dark side, because he is a wonderfully affable man. He just gives us sunshine every day when we come here as the gatekeeper. But somebody tried to get into that garage the other day who wasn't supposed to, and he was in their window. I saw you looking in here. And that person sped out backwards, scared, because they were planning to try and get in our garage.
I have Big Mac talking about the Panthers that we haven't aired yet.
Please,
Would love to hear that.
Please.
Big Mac's take of the day.
We look real good. Back to back to back, 3 in a row, and then they won the last 2.
Hockey Town?
That man, come on. And the Tampa, what's the name? The Lightning.
Lightning. Florida.
Yeah,
Hockey
Florida.
State.
Leave us alone now.
Big Mac's take of the day.
All right, this segment's not getting off the ground.
He's right.
Leave us alone now.
No,
Everyone knows when you win back-to-back cups, you gotta leave us alone.
the audio's not any good on that.
You can hear Chris walking
Well, it's
away in the
because-
audio.
yeah, we're also
He's
like-
like, oh, you still got more?
I'm telling you, Big
Okay.
Mac is better when he doesn't know you're recording.
Well,
Chris,
but that
you've been
also-
working
that
on this
few
crime.
for
times,
months.
the
Chris.
few
That's a crime.
times I walk up to him and put the phone in his face, he's
Two-party
not
state.
good.
That's a crime.
Just ask for
We-
full-time consent.
We
Hey,
have
I can
a
record you
picture
whenever we
of
talk.
Big Mac's
That's what I
twin
have.
right here. We have a picture of Big Mac's twin. Chris, the segment's not going anywhere. The segment is the segment is dying.
I think it's crushing.
What have you just put on the air? What is this? What is this?
Big Mac is black?
That is Big Mac's twin, apparently. That's the. He sent us this text. That's both of them at a Heat game.
Oh, my
Apparently.
God.
That was sent to us from Big Mac.
His twin looks just like UD.
Is that Drew Brees?
That does look like Drew Brees there.
Drew Brees.